That honk, everybody, is what starts out our show tonight. It is good to see everybody. Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, everybody, to a Friday night stream. It is the second to last stream of 2023. It is February 29th, 9:10 p.m. Eastern, and I hope everyone is doing well and is looking forward to our Game of the Year show 2023. We do this every year right around this exact same time to summarize the year that has been for the channel, to summarize the year that has been with my writing and things of that nature, talk a little bit about what's coming up in 2024, and of course, what you've all been waiting for. I don't know if that's of course, but presumably what you've all been waiting for, which is the official rankings of the games. Now, you all know about the Games of the Year show. You all know about, the way that the game awards that are run by like IGN and stuff like that. But you all know the real thing you're waiting for are the official Arvin Eleron Game of the Year rankings based upon games that he played. So there's a lot there that everyone is waiting for, I have no doubt. And so I am excited to bring that to you in just a minute. But first, couple of reminders about ways to support the channel, and then right before that I do all that other stuff, I'm going to have a special announcement with one Mr. Zach Clay, which we'll talk about in just a second. So if you have not already done so, please consider following the channel. That is super useful. If you haven't already done so, please consider checking out our YouTube channel with !ArvTube. And if you are over on my YouTube channel watching me right now, welcome. We've been doing this for the last month or so, going live on YouTube at the same time as we stream on Twitch. So welcome everybody over on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to me there, and please consider coming over to Twitch to hang out with us too if you were over on the YouTube channel. That's free for you, but it really helps us out. Also free for you is to subscribe to our Discord, where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. You can do that with !ArvCord. Twitter is !ArvTweets. Blue Sky, !ArvSky. Website, arvineleron.com for all of that good stuff. On the financial side, !ArvShop is the merchandise area where you can get stuff. A bunch of new stuff this year for the Infinity and Beyond crew, for the Shire Adventures, which has now come to an end, for Arvin Eleron stuff in general, and coming up soon, Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks is going to have swag over there, so that's going to be cool. You can support us with that !Arv Shop. Helps you and helps you get some swag, and also helps the channel out. !Arv is the Patreon. That is really the financial backbone of the channel, and we're really trying to build that number back up. Because it really gives us the opportunity to do things like commission things like the video you just saw, and overlays and stuff like that. We really stepped that up quite a bit in 2023, and that does cost a little bit of money. So the support that people are able to give through the Patreon is much appreciated. Plus, you can get inspirations to help our tabletop players and a bunch of other cool stuff for yourself. So please consider doing that if you can. !Arvtreon for that. Subbing to the channel is always appreciated, so please consider doing that. If you are subbing for the first time, it is 25% off for you to do that, and that really helps because those subs are something which also supports the channel quite a bit. We had a hype train the other day, and I'd love to see a couple more hype trains over today and tomorrow as well. So definitely stop on board with the subs if you wish to do that. That would be lovely. Get those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. And on the publishing side, Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library is my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and source book from Alligator Alley Entertainment. And the second adventure there, Return to the Forbidden Library, is going to be played live at the historic Klein Memorial Auditorium in Bridgeport, Connecticut on January 26th. That is less than a month away now. And that's also going to feature a certain person who I'm going to be introducing to all of you in just a moment in one Mr. Zach Clay. So that's going to be happening. Very excited about that. And you can get that adventure plus the others there in that Library link. Also, Greyshade, which is the Grey Assassin trilogy. First two books in that series, Greyshade and Renegade, are already out. The third book in the series, Heretic, is being worked on as we speak. Thank you for the resub. What's up, Polar? 40 months. Wow. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Polar. Happy New Year. I hope everything is okay with you. I hope you've had a peaceful holiday. Thank you so much as always, sir. It's good to see you. So what was I saying? Yes. Greyshade. So Greyshade and Renegade, those first two books are out now. You can also get the audiobook of Greyshade by our very own Trent Sparks. All of those at that Greyshade link. And you can pre-order the tabletop role-playing game from Brandon O'Brien and Alligator Alley Entertainment. Happy holidays, Polar. And of course, you can also also pre-order the final book in the Grey Assassin trilogy called Heretic, which I'm working on as we speak and which will be coming out next year. So I'm very excited about that. All of that at that exclamation point gray shade link. And last but certainly not least, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter. Important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation point Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And exclamation point Ukraine, Ukraine, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message we will do so for others in this situation in the future. Now, quick note about schedule. Tonight we have the Game of the Year show. Tomorrow we will have the final stream of 2023, and that will also hopefully be the final stream of Season 3 of D&D with Infinity and Beyond, Eberron Oracle of War, called Dogs of War is that season. Currently it's Judgment of Iron is the one that we're in, and that again is going to be the conclusion of that, and we're going to be leading into Season 4 next month. I'll talk more about this when I talk about what's happening in January, but it's going to be very exciting. That's going to be the final stream tomorrow, and then it'll be the 31st, and then it'll be 2024, y'all. We've only got 2 days left after today of 2023 left over. So we're almost there. We're almost to the end of the year and moving on to a new one. So very excited about all of that. However, what I've got going on right now is something pretty exciting because I have a big announcement that I am about to reveal. And so I am going to bring myself up here. See if I can do that properly. Yes, I have. And then I'm going to lead over here. And now I'm going to unmute myself so that he knows we are ready to go. And then I am going to unmute him. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to transition over to reveal. My goodness, it's Zach Clay. It is Zach Clay, currently a smaller Zach Clay than me.
In the virtual flesh.
Yes, in the virtual flesh. So you go. This is Zach full screen, non-full screen, full screen, non-full screen.
So much space.
I don't even know what to do with all of this space. Okay, so you may all be wondering, well, why is Zach here? Well, first of all, Zach's officer and a gentleman and all that. Zach is not going to be here for super long because he's got stuff he's got to do, but we have a big announcement first that I am very excited to reveal. I mentioned that there are new things happening in January for the channel and for me personally with writing and various other things. And one of those is a new project of ours. So, Zach, do you want to explain? First of all, welcome. It's good to see you. Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank you. You too as well. Yep.
What do you want to tell us what this is, and then I'll fill in as need be.
Well, of course, both Greg and I are dungeon masters and game masters of D&D and other systems, and although I've been a player under Greg for a long time, and that's how I started to know him, other than our vocalist, of course. In my job, as some of you may or may not be aware of, my main freelance gig right now is running D&D games. And so both of us are DMs with a lot of experience, but notably some differences in those areas too, where I am, I'm technically the year I was born is the oldest of Gen Z, youngest millennial. I'm right in that little weird gap there. And we come almost from two different generations of D&D, where when Greg was growing up was around the time when D&D was first, being played, and or at least the decades after that. And so as we were talking, over the years that we've known each other with D&D and playing tabletop games and the benefits of them, and me working with kids and running tabletop games for kids and my students, we realized in a lot of the content that's out there that's not actual plays, but like talking about how to run the game or like DM advice or things like that, that it's usually always just one GM by themselves that is talking about, top 5 tips for combat in D&D or this or that, and it's all just them by themselves. And there isn't really I haven't really found any content out there that was DMs talking to each other and like exchanging tips in real time, or a vodcast or a podcast that was about two GMs like exchanging tips, asking each other questions about their GMing process, and let alone two GMs from two different generations that approach the game from two different generations. And so the idea that we came up with, this next project that's going to be launching in early mid-January, is a vodcast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. It'll be both video and audio. That right now, our test name or our current name for it is Gen GMs, short for, I guess, generational GMs.
Yep.
And it's essentially the premise of it is that Arv and I sit down together and we ask each other questions that neither of us have any aforementioned knowledge of. We don't know what question we're about to receive, and we just give our opinion or our advice. And that ranges of the episodes that we've recorded so far. That ranges to everything from our opinion on running games for groups of players, like the classic 4-player group, or running games for just one person. Have either of us ever done that before? What our opinions are about it. And that ranges from everything to that to, Greg's perspective as a GM, as he is a father, versus my perspective as a GM, not having kids, but working with kids and with students. And it is as much a discussion between the two of us and like us learning from each other in real time, which is really rewarding. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's just an excuse for us to sit down and chat together about GMing, which I really love. But hopefully also it's useful to other game masters and dungeon masters out there and players and anyone that enjoys tabletop games to just kind of, I don't know, be a fly on the wall and listen in on this series of advice and us kind of learning from each other in real time. And so that is Gen GMs. We have a YouTube channel for it that is going to be uploading both the long form of the vodcast itself, and then also cut into cool clips, highlights, if you will, of each of those. And we'll see how it evolves from there. But another thing too is that it's been a great reason for us to both kind of find a new avenue for content, which is something we've both needed too. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's it. Gen GMs, something exciting for all you tabletop folks.
Gen GMs. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. We actually started chatting about this in earnest as I was driving up to CanCon in October. And we sort of kind of went back and forth about the possibilities for this. And yeah, and but co-sign with everything Zach said. I'm super excited to do this. Zach is super smart and very thoughtful about this, and has a lot of really interesting knowledge and ideas. And I think the balance of both experience and sort of dynamic wisdom, if that's a term, like being able to sort of develop things as time goes on, is really useful. And we have already actually recorded, I think either 2 or 3 sort of longer sessions so far of questions that we've asked each other, from which we're going to be cutting shorts, and then we'll be also doing like the actual lead up to the main show. So that's going to be really, really great. It is going to be a recorded show, although there is the possibility down the line. We have thoughts about other things we might try down the line too related to it. But we're going to give this the old college try because we feel like we do enjoy the conversations. I totally agree with that. But also, it reminds me a little bit of what I was doing on here a bit with Masters of the Dungeon, which Zach, of course, appeared on. And that was great too in its own way. And I kind of miss those discussions. And I think there isn't really a lot on YouTube like this. There are a lot of things that are, as Zach said, sort of like 5 things that no one expects from blah blah blah, or stuff like XP to level 3, which does some of that advice stuff, but does a lot more like skits and like a whole bunch of these other things, and actual play shows that we obviously I do a number of actual play things related to Twitch, which shows up on the channel, but an actual discussion advice show that gets pretty in depth on things, and also, by the way, gets into depth on stuff that will be, I mean, we've already gotten into some fairly deep stuff, and more of it will be happening because I think we really want to plumb the depths of what is, yes, a hobby, but which is, I think, enormously rewarding for both of us for multiple reasons. And so, I'm super excited about it. I think it definitely has legs, and regardless, I'm excited about doing it. The other thing I want to mention quickly too is that although it will be edited, the whole premise of this is not that it's going to be, we're going to get eventually we're going to have a music theme and we'll have logos and stuff like that, but we're not going
Yeah.
to have like like flashing 7 million lights and like and the
MGMs.
the 65 like hard cut edits where you feel like you're watching a robot and everything.
Yeah.
That's not the idea. The idea is to sort of have a discussion and hopefully be able to get into a discussion with all of you who are watching also. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we're launching a bunch of stuff in different ways on different things, but I'm super pumped about this one that we are doing. So
Yep.
um, it's going to be great. And so, what we would ask from all of you lovely folks who are watching this either live or on the VOD is just to be ready. If you follow our respective, Twitter and Blue Sky accounts and all that stuff, we will have more information about this coming soon, but it is going to be launching in January. We already have the YouTube channel up.
Hmm.
We will need to add, some things to flesh it out, but it's already up and ready. We've already recorded, as we say, a bunch of sort of the opening shows. So we've been doing that basically since I think late November, and then or mid-November
Yeah.
possibly all the way through December. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I'm
And
excited.
I'm pumped up about it. So yeah, that's it. That's the big announcement. But we are excited about it, and you're going to hear more from us, from both of us, over time. Would you like to learn more? Yes. Oh, that's great, Prince Justin. That's exactly the enthusiasm we're hoping for. I have just posted about this, by the way, on Twitter and Blue Sky. So if anyone is following me, I would love to have any or all of you retweet and repost that and be like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." That's exactly the kind of energy that we would love to have going into this. And we will try to give you the most thoughtful and involved content that we know how to give, and to make the long play of me having all of that stuff in the background and Zach being a professional DM. It was all a long play to lead just to this moment.
Just to this moment.
Just to this, just to this. This is all why we did all this. But
Yeah. Yep.
no, but I'm excited, Zach, and I'm
Me
publicly,
too.
let me thank you for being on it and being, doing this together is going to be great. And also, because I know you have to head out, but I also want to wish you happy holidays and happy new year. And I'm, very grateful for your friendship, and I'm looking forward to more in 2024. So,
Ditto to you, my friend. All the love to you and the fam out on the other coast.
yep, absolutely. And we're going to be seeing you on the other coast soon.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
oh,
Very soon.
are we at liberty to talk? Okay, I will just say this.
Yeah, we could.
I
We
guess we
could.
can about both parts, right? I guess,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I don't see
So
why not.
one other quick announcement before Zach leaves. So you all know that Zach is going to be part, as he was I guess earlier this year, it's hard to believe it was still this year.
God.
But like a lot has happened. But the
Hmm.
Klein event of D&D. So we have another D&D Klein event, the sequel, Return to the Forbidden Library, happening
Yep.
on Friday, January 26th at the Klein. So Zach is going to be flying out. He's going to be joining previous players at the Klein event, Claire Cooney, Carlos Hernandez, Adam Petrosino, and then new player, Rob can't join us for this, so instead it will be Brandon Crilly, who's going to be joining us down from Canada. It's going to be awesome. Hey, good to see you, Drew. So that's going to be happening, so you all know about that. However, it looks very likely that we are going to get this absolutely confirmed, but it looks likely that Zach, myself, and Michael Bruce, who is the guitarist of the band The Road, are also going to be doing an official album release in person, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
concert up in Boston at a place called the Lily Pad. We have done shows there before. Not Zach has not, but we did a show, Mike, Aaron, and myself, some years ago at the Lily Pad. So that's also going to be happening sometime in late January, early February. I think the plan is early February right now. So it looks likely that that is going to happen. We'll have more details about that coming soon, but it's going to be a super awesome January, February, because we launched Gen GMs. Zach comes out and we do the Klein event. We do the road show, and then I'm going to be going to Boscone at the end of all that in Boston. So the whole thing is going to be really a great set of weeks. So I'm really excited about it, and you'll have a chance to actually see us playing the stuff that we've been doing from the album live, which was called like listening to a Broadway themed rock musical by the Big Takeover. And so you'll definitely get a chance to see some of that. So yes, I wanted to, since Zach was here, I thought
Heck
this was a
yeah.
good time to mention that. So
Yep. All sorts of stuff. Yeah, that second coast is slowly becoming my second home. or that other coast, I guess. But yeah, no, I'm excited.
The second coast,
The
that
second
sub
coast.
coast, that sub
Yeah,
coast.
that sub coast over there where most people seem to be from.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect.
But it's going to be awesome.
Yep.
So, Chad, can we get some love for Zach? Zach, I know you got to head out. Thank you.
Yep.
It's good to see you. And yeah, Gen GM's band coming soon. Happy New Year to you and yours. And I will talk to you in the new
100%.
year.
Great. Yep. You too.
Okay. Thanks, man. Bye
Bye.
bye. All righty. So good to see you, Drew. So, yes, that's the announcement. Gen GMs. And in case that wasn't good enough, we have got the Klein event and the Road Band album release in person and at the Lily Pad. And yeah, it's going to be great. I'm super excited about it. And as I said, I have a lot that's launching in January. We have the new community D&D, which is launching with the Shadow Crew, which has had some new members added to it in Tilted Gaming and Yoi Gawain Lin. Although they are not new to people on this channel overall, they're new to that group. So we've got that's going to be happening, which is super exciting, along with a certain Drew somebody or other, I think, is joining them. Plus Echo Alpha X5, plus Hoodie, also known as OMG a Truck, plus, of course, DM Shouted Mage. So we've got that's launching in January. We have Beowulf, which is going to be launching with Trent Sparks and Tari Tunes. That's going to be launching in January. I just mentioned the Gen GMs thing, which is going to be launching then. Season 4 of Eberron Oracle of War is going to be launching in January. So we've got a ton of stuff coming up, people. It's going to be great. And I'm super, super excited about it. And not only am I excited about it, my cat's excited about it. Look how excited that cat is. And I don't know if you can see, but right behind my cat Sherbert is my cat Ganesh. And Ganesh likes to lie there at this time. So we are joined by both of the cats. So in case you think that this is not a big deal, let me tell you, both of the cats are in the house. All right. So like you just keep that in mind. I got my Mandalorian shirt on. I got the cats in the house. We are good to go. You make your sacrifices to Janice right now. I'm very excited about it. Seriously. I have felt very good over the last, I would say, 3 weeks to a month about the vibe around the channel and around the vibe around my writing, which I'll talk about more about in a sec. Just been feeling very good about the streams, about the way they've been going, about the reactions we've been getting. And I'm feeling very good going into January. So I'm very excited about that. All right. So with that announcement out of the way, it's time for the Game of the Year show. So the way this works is, for those of you who haven't done this before or been here before for this, I've been doing this for about 6 years now, although more officially over the last 4 to 5 years. I'm going to go through the games that I played, but before I do that, I just want to talk a little bit about state of the world, state of the channel. I've already talked about what's coming up in 2024, so I think we can get past that. So that is the plan as things stand right now. I just want to start very quickly by sending out a shout out of much love to all of you. Sometimes I save that for the end because I'm like, this is the most important thing. I want to save it for the end. I want to make this like right up front. You folks that are here, those of you who are watching live, those of you who are coming in, those of you who are watching on VOD and so on, this is my final Friday stream starting next month, literally starting next week. Actually, I'm going to be now streaming Thursdays, so Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays instead of Tuesday, Fridays, and Saturdays. And then most of the time, the Shadow Crew is going to be on Wednesdays, although not every week. It'll be every other week probably. So I'm going to be on regularly myself, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, instead of Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. So this is the final Friday stream. And I just want to say, I am super grateful to all of you who have, for the past 11 plus years now, it's going to be 12 years as of April, in this coming April in a few months, have been with me on this journey. And many of you, people like, for example, our Polar, that's been almost since the beginning, like very close to the beginning. And for some of you, you came on a lot later. Some of you came on with interviews of, say, the Talos Principle in the case of Shadowed Mage. Some of you, like Drew, found me through Rob. Some of you found me because I happen to know you IRL and found me that way, like Prince Justin. And then numerous other examples and permutations of all of that, including people like, in fact, I don't even remember exactly, Triffid, when the first time was. I mean, I know, like, I don't remember what the first game was that you joined me for, Triffid, but so all of you have been with me in different ways. And I'm extremely grateful to all of you, because not only have we tried to build things the right way and build things as a community, it's been a real honor to be able to do that with a group of people that share, I think, a lot of the same values. The three C's we talk about here are community and compassion and communication. And those are three things which I think we all do very well on this channel. It's something which I take a lot of pride in. And I take a lot of pride in the mods who have made this possible. So, for example, mods like Drew and Triffid and Prince Justin and Zach Clay and other people that are going to be joining. These people have all been a part. Actually, Zach's not a mod, I'm sorry. But the other three are mods. They really have set the tone, and a lot of the regular viewers have set the tone as well. But whether you've been with me for many years or whether you've been with me only for a few weeks or a couple of months, you've stuck around because you have become a part of this community that we call the Arvanauts. And that's very special to me. And it's something tangible and something that I think we need to hold on to in a time when we are continually told that we have never been more divided, that we have never been more separated, that there's so much polarization, blah, blah, blah. Some of that is true, and some of it is, I think, a media creation where people with agendas wish to divide and subdivide and separate and place out in different spots. And the reality is that it is in the interests of people that we be divided. It is not in the interests of people that we be together. If you're not sure if that's true, I would ask you to look at 2023, which was one of the best years for unions in the United States in decades. It was a year in which multiple unions won multiple strikes, and I actually belong to one said union, by the way. And unions always make things better. They make things better for people who are with them, and they also make things for people who are not in unions better by raising the standards for everybody. Why? Because we together can do more than what happens with all of us separated apart. So this year is a year in which I felt like there was an opportunity for people to come together. There was also, of course, a great deal of people being driven forcibly apart. The situation in the Middle East, obviously, most recently, has been a horrific example of that. The continuing war in Ukraine, numerous other examples of this that I could bring up. But set against those are examples of people repeatedly coming together for common purpose. And that's the sort of thing which I think is critically important. The android woman guarding the girl in a big city. You're not talking about NeoCab, are you, Triffid? Or are you talking about, Detroit Become Human. Yes. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Detroit Become Human. Yeah. Detroit Become Human. Oh, very cool. Very cool. I think that's right. I remember that you started watching because of Mike. Well, that was another, Mike is good people regardless, but that was another good thing that Mike provided. So that's awesome. So the bringing of people together, I think, has been just as much the story of 2023 as some attempt to separate and put people apart. And we're going to have to do that again in 2024. We have a hugely important election coming up in the United States. There is obviously, again, ongoing conflict and war, which needs to be addressed. There are many challenges that we have to go towards. But I continue to believe down to the core of my being, because I've seen it happen, that we are better working together than we are when separated and divided and working apart. And I continue to believe that our instinct is to go in that direction if we can follow that instinct. And it's in that spirit that this channel has been run. It's in that spirit that a lot of my writing has been done as well. So I want to start in a general sense by saying to all of you, thank you for doing that, and to ask you if you have felt that sense of belonging here, if you have felt that sense of community, that sense of friendship and connection, if you're able to spread those things to others, if you're able to go to your own IRL communities, to your own local communities. In fact, I met many of you on this channel IRL now. I've met, obviously I've already met people like Triffid and Prince Justin. I have also met, of course, Drew. I have met naturally Zach in person and so on. There are many people here that I have met in person. And I'm looking forward to meeting many more of you. But even if we were never to meet actually face to face and just in virtual space, we're still connected with each other. And I would ask you to take that notion, that feeling, that spirit and to bring it to you in all of your endeavors, civic and otherwise, whether it's going to schools or to libraries, whether it's going to your stores, whether it's going to conferences or conventions, whether it's just walking down the street, whether it's going to concerts outside, whatever it is that you're doing, being connected with other people, your family, being connected with other people and pushing towards that idea of connecting and presence and mindfulness with each other is such an enormously important thing. It is enormously healing, it is powerful, and it's something which all of what we try to do here in some way or another, whether it's laughing or crying, is something that we do to sort of support and supplement. And so it's in that spirit, again, of communication and connection and community that I want to encourage you all to do the same things in your own places that we've been able to do here. And I'm so grateful to all of you that you've helped teach me how to continually teach me how to do that as we've been together on this channel. Now, the second thing I want to talk about very quickly is just the channel as a whole. The channel itself, I think, has been in quite good shape. I will definitely say that the financial numbers took a hit over the past year, and that's not surprising to me. Economic circumstances were difficult, especially at the beginning of the year. They have, at least in the States, improved, but it's not that way for everyone across the world. And obviously, the circumstances for people on the ground in terms of what they feel continue to be difficult. And there are a lot of places where people have money that has to be spent to supplement themselves and their families and close friends and so forth. And so I get all of that. But it was a little bit at one point. The numbers definitely had sort of dropped off in terms of financial questions. And that was something, hey, Configuration Queen, good to see you. That was something which I was happy to see, I think has sort of begun to recover. And we've seen those numbers begin to pick back up, both in subs and in Patreon support. And I really want that to continue. The subathon was a huge success, way beyond my wildest expectations. And that's something which I'm really grateful for. It made a big difference. And it really was inspirational to me, honestly, because it showed that a lot of people really care deeply about what this channel and community is about. And I definitely am going to be doing another one, once a year because it definitely worked. So that was hugely inspirational to me, and I'm very grateful for that. I was also enormously grateful for everyone's support during ARFCON. We again raised another over $6,000 to support the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation, which means we have now raised over $30,000 to support that. That again is tangible money. That's tangible, real stuff that is working towards the actual curing, the treatment and curing of this dreaded disease in its various manifestations. And if you look at the way in which the research has down the road led to multiple ways that not just cancer but other diseases are being treated, it shows you the power of when the community comes together. All of the corporations that supported us in that effort, all of you who supported people like Prince Justin and Drew sending those pictures again, those incredible pictures on metal, those portraits, and then landscape pictures on metal that are just extraordinary to look at. I'm looking right over now at the ones that Prince Justin has sent me over the years, the ones that Drew has been kind enough to send me over the years. That is just incredible to me that we've had that kind of support. Everyone said before that Triffid is the hardest working mod in show business. I mean, that's the truth. God, if I started, I would take me 6 hours if I talked about all the incredible stuff Triffid has done and Triffid's, tireless work on getting everything assembled and put together. Emily, the Invincible, was hugely valuable for that as well. Obviously, Dragon Spear and Shadowed Mage and so many others that I could go through. The power of this community kind of working together. I just can't say enough about all of that means. And that's, again, tangible, real stuff. So when people tell you, like, we're falling apart and nobody listens to each other, that, folks, is bullshit. It's not demonstrated by the reality of what we ourselves know. It's true that people can let petty things get in the way, but it's also true that they can be brought together. And that really makes a difference that I want you to not forget about because it's so hugely important that these people, that we are connected and they are connected the way that we've been able to be. So On the channel level, I really am feeling in a good space. I'm feeling in a good space about where we're going. I'm happy about the new content that's coming up for the channel. I think the switching from Friday to Thursday is going to be a positive in many ways in terms of overall numbers. I also think that the tabletop stuff, again, those things have started to recover in terms of numbers and viewership. And again, the encouragement of others, asking other people, letting them know, hey, you need to show up and check this thing out because this thing is super cool. You really are going to want to be a part of it. The new people that have come on board that have talked about how much they like what we're doing here, that really makes a difference, folks. And it's the kind of thing that really, along with the veterans who stay with us and are sort of a backbone for this channel month in and week in and week out, month in and month out, year in and year out, those two things combined together make the channel enormously powerful. So please continue to do that. Thank you for having done that. And I feel good about where the channel stands. I want to make one last comment, and then we'll get into the game ranking just about my writing as well. I'm also feeling quite good about where my writing is standing, although I will fully admit that I am very much hoping to be able to get to that next stage this coming year. I want to be able to get an agent, and I want to be able to move to that next step. I was very gratified with and very grateful to Athos Arts and to Emily Bell for the wonderful work that was done with editing of Renegade, my book, which came out this year. I was super grateful as well for the Gray Shade being a silver medal winner for the IBPA. I was very grateful to those who were beta readers and editor and copy editors for this, including such people as perhaps a certain mod whose name may rhyme with Bliffity Blatz, possibly, who was a part of this, along with others who read this work. I was super grateful to all of you who really made the book what it was. I felt very proud of that book. I worked very hard on it. And I feel very good about the Gray Assassin trilogy as a whole. Gray Shade and Renegade, I think, are the best things that I've written to date. And I'm feeling very good about Heretic, which I'm working on now. The being able to write a manuscript page a day and keeping up that regularly, as I have been doing really since May, has been a game changer for me. Like it has cut down my stress level enormously, and it's meant that I've made regular and steady progress. And I just feel super excited about that and about the way in which that work has come together. And so I'm super grateful for everyone who has looked at it critically. I don't mean critically like negatively, but has given, has put it through, and those who have reviewed it critically and all that stuff. I'm just super grateful to everyone who's made the books what they are. And I'm very excited for the new year. I'm very excited for Heretic. I'm very excited for the tabletop role-playing game of Gray Shade, which is going to be great. And also, as I've told you all, I have a middle grade book called Winnie and Wormwood, of which I'm extremely proud. I have been submitting that to agents. I have gotten some near misses with that. I've had some full manuscript requests. I've had literally a very I really was almost about to take this kind of conversation. Those are really hard because I'm kind of like, go take the next step, but I feel like I'm right there. And I will say, anyone who's watching this, if you happen to know an agent who's looking for stuff like this, or if you are an agent or editor, let me tell you, I have a work that I think is pretty damn good. If you want something which combines the best parts of Evil Wizard Smallbone with the Graveyard Book, a book with haunted pianos and clockwork pigeons and lots of heart, then let me ask you to get in touch with me, because I've got a manuscript for you called Winnie and Wormwood. So I'm also going to be submitting that in the new year and revising that in the new year. So I'm happy about that. Also, I should mention that I'm also very proud of the fact that I have finished my 20th year teaching at St. John's, my 21st year of full-time college teaching. I am in the midst, halfway through now, my 22nd year of college teaching. And I am very proud that I continue to be, the evaluations continue to be very good. And I continue to be very pleased with my students and very happy with this job as well. Teaching is something which is very near and dear to me also. And I feel very grateful. Hang on one second. For those of you watching the recording, I've got a streaming problem. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. That's what's Twitch being Twitch. Once in a while that has happened. Last time I think that happened was a couple of weeks ago. So sorry about that. Sorry everybody. I'm back. We're all good. We're all fine now. How are you? I'm very proud of the academic stuff as well. For those of you who missed it, just finished my 20th year of full-time teaching at St. John's University, my 21st year of full-time college teaching overall. I've been teaching college for longer than that, but within the full-time context, and feel very good about that position as well. I'm a tenured full professor. I earned that. And it's been an honor to be able to work with my students and to be able to work with colleagues over the years. So I'm very grateful to St. John's, to college teaching, to my students, thousands of them now over the years, and that's been a wonderful experience as well. So I'm happy about all of that. So, and then last, of course, I do want to mention that I'm also extraordinarily grateful for my family. If you watched the stream that we did on Christmas Day of Little Arv, Mrs. Arv, Mini Arv, you will know that these are the dearest people in the world to me. I feel incredibly lucky to be connected with all of them. I was thinking about this today, just listening to my daughter, Little Arv, as she was talking about stuff with her DM campaign and about different things with a film project she's working on for school and everything else. And I'm just incredibly proud of the young woman that she's growing up to become. And for those of you who have been with me since she was 4 years old, because I started streaming when she was only 4 years old, she is going to be turning on January 20th, 16 years old. And she will be halfway through her sophomore year of high school. It is astonishing to me that we are at that stage. But it's also been, I do not feel, however, oh, it's just rushing where I can't stop it. I don't feel that way at all. I loved what it was like when she was little, but I've loved just as much watching the sort of wonderful young woman that she's grown into. It's mind-blowing. She is really the light of my life, and as I've said many times, she's like, it's an honor to be her dad. It's also been a great joy as my son has gotten older. He's very funny all the time. He's a funny kid. He's got lots of energy. He has a great charisma and a great joy about the way he lives his life, and a great sort of like physical reality about him that's just really wonderful to watch. And so I have great amount of love for my son also, who is now 7.5 and in second grade. And of course, my wonderful, lovely wife, Mrs. Arv, who I've been with now we started dating in 1997, y'all. So it has been now 26 years that we've been together. And we have been married. We celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary earlier this year. So that is also pretty wild to me. So it's been a lovely, it's been a lovely time. It's been not always easy. It's not always been an easy thing, our marriage. Marriage is something you have to work on every day, every week, every year, every month, every year. But it's also been very inspiring and fulfilling. And so, yeah. So as I look back at all those things as we come to the end of 2023, I just feel incredibly grateful and fortunate that I've been given a lot of those things, and that I had a relatively, knock on wood, had a relatively healthy year in 2023, that my family was healthy relatively in 2023. I feel very fortunate for that. I know that was not the case for everybody, but I definitely feel fortunate that I had that opportunity. And so to be able to be healthy and to feel good, as I have turned 51, I feel good, in good state, in good straits, in good health. And then of course, last but certainly not least, we added 2 new members to the family, 2 furry members to the family in Sherbert and Ganesh down there, who you can just sort of see there. And that's been a really great experience as well. They're great cats, and they've been a wonderful addition to the household as well. So all in all, it's been very good, and I'm excited for the 2024 to come. Now, with all that said, after all of that good stuff and my wishes to you for a wonderful 2024 to come, the time has come for what you've all been waiting for, the Game of the Year show. Now, I'm going to rank all of the games that I played this year from the bottom to the top, and I'm going to go through them and talk a little bit about each one. So, chat, my question is, are you ready? First of all, can you hear me? Am I still running and is everyone able to hear me? And then secondly, are you ready to go for what we know as the Game of the Year show? All righty. Apparently we can. That is what I like to hear. All right. What's up, Jasper Kazai? Good to see you. All right. I hear you when I am ready. My body is ready. Okay, we're going to start out then with this first one. So let me get this first. All right, starting with now. Oh, and also just one quick note, which is just a couple of statistics about this in case you're curious. Usually I play somewhere between 23 and 25 games every year. But this year I actually played a few more, and a lot of that is due to two factors. One is that I played a few more games with my kids off stream. That's largely because they're a little older, and for example, my son was in an age now where he's playing some video games with me, so I played some of that stuff off stream with them. And then second, the fact that I had a Steam Deck, which as you folks know that I got this year, to make it possible for me to be able to have a mobile setup. That turned out to be very useful during the summer. I was able to stream some games using that mobile setup, but it also meant that I was able to play a few more games without just sitting here in front of my computer screen. So as a consequence, I played a few more games and a few more off-stream games. So as total, I played 30 games this year that were new to the channel or to myself in some capacity. One game I left off the list, that's Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. I played that with Little Larv, but I have played and won that before, although not on stream, so I don't count that. But everything else I'm putting here in that list. Of that 30, 7 of them were brand new releases this year, and 6 of them I played off stream. So the vast majority of these were played on stream, but not all of them, so I wanted to mention that. Some of these games a lot of the games, especially once we get to like the top 20, are games that I still think are good. There were too many good games, and so I had to sort of go to that distance. So there we go. So we'll begin with game number 30. Game number 30 is Die by the Sword. Now, Echo Alpha X5, I believe, is the one who recommended this, and Die by the Sword is definitely a game. There is definitely a game that is played in Die by the Sword. There are a couple of very funny clips that came out of this game in terms of like, there was one that's called, I think it's called Crabman, which basically just involves me sort of scuttling back and forth as I'm doing this. But this game has issues. I understand it has some nostalgia feels for people, but that was not my favorite. But we played it. It did have some fun, funny moments, and that was cool. But definitely that is a game that was a game. That was definitely 30th on the list for me, was Die by the Sword. And as I say, there are some good things that happened with it, and it was not awful. This was, for example, not the way that I played like probably poor Dragon Spirit wouldn't like this, but Tron that I played a couple of years ago was definitely lower on the list, than something like this. But having said all of that, it was what it was. So that's my feeling about that. All right. Second, number 29 on the list was Detective Gallo. This was also a Patreon Field Chat Shows Game of the Month. And don't worry, a lot of the Patreon Field games I really liked a lot. But Detective Gallo is cute. And Detective Gallo had a lot of like sort of fun little nods to, noir and sort of some funny jokes and dad jokes even and satire in there too. And so there were definitely some good things about that. The problem with Detective Gallo, honestly, is not so much specific, I think, to Detective Gallo. It's just that, as you all know, I have a very limited shelf life in terms of point and click stuff. Cosmic Crisp is a great apple. Very nice. Detective Gallo is, I just point and click games sometimes get very frustrating for me because I find that they require a certain kind of adventure game logic that just does not fit with my head. And basically, a game that makes me feel foolish is not a game that I'm likely to enjoy. And so there was some of that logic going on in Detective Gallo. It was not nearly as bad as something like, say, Grim Fandango, which I felt had a lot of that all the time. But Detective Gallo definitely had some of that where I was kind of like, where I got frustrated with it. That's less about Detective Gallo and more just about point and click things being very it's a very narrow window basically for point and click games that I like. I enjoyed Loom. I enjoyed the atmosphere of Myst, although a lot of the puzzles being solved with Myst can be similarly frustrating. Toonstruck had its moments. There are things here and there, but a lot of the point and click stuff gets very exasperating to me. And so, that's sort of, I guess, a thing to think about. Is that stuff sort of sometimes feels to me like uh just sort of like, what are we even doing? Like, why am I doing things in this regard? So that was a little frustrating. And again, not a bad game, just a game that I don't think I would go back to in the future in all likelihood. So that's with Detective Gallo. But that was still it was fine. It was a game that was played and all that. Okay. Next game on the list. There we go. Just want to make sure I had that. Let me see. Okay. So. All right. Next game on the list is number 28 is Project Zomboid. This is a game that I played. This has been out since like 2014 or something like that. And this is a game that I actually played with the amazing people over on GOG.com, specifically Pyron J, Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, and I don't remember if I played this with Flaos or Undeveloped Bruce or Ananda. I don't think I did. I think it was those others, Peripheral Mike and Pyron Jade and Darksaber 2K. I love those people. Those people are great. Good friends. And Project Zomboid was fun because I was playing with them. I would not, however, play this game otherwise. I'm not a big zombie guy, and I'm especially not a big zombie guy when it's zombie survival and you're constantly on the edge of being destroyed and like everything is about. I mean, as I say, I had a great time with it because it was one of those games that I was like, I didn't really care whether I did well or poorly because it's all good, right? Like, who cares? So in a way, that was fine in the end, but it was one of those deals where definitely a game that I liked with them in that context, not a game that I would come back to again and again. So Project Zomboid, fine, but definitely on the lower end of this list. That was number 28. Number 27 on the list is a game called Pendragon. This is a game by Inkle, and I actually played this when I was out in Seattle using my Steam Deck setup. And there's a lot of stuff here that I think is valuable from the point of view of sort of game design. Like, it was very interesting to me in the ways in which the game worked and ways in which the game didn't. On the one hand, I was very excited about some of the things it was attempting to do. I was very excited about some of the ways in which the game sort of provided new storytelling angles and kind of new ways to tell the same story using different characters. It had a little bit of a Banner Saga feel to me, also reminded me a little bit of Wildermyth. But like Wildermyth, I also felt that Pendragon kind of outstayed its welcome. After I had played through it about maybe 2 times with different characters, I kind of was like, I don't want to go through this again. And it had these sort of almost roguelike elements that sort of made me be like, I don't know how much I really want to stick with this. And that I think is something which Inkle has done with some other games for me. I had a similar reaction to Heaven's Vault, which I think I played either last year or the year before, which is also from Inkle. It's smart stuff, but it doesn't always execute the way that I would hope that it would. And so it was a game that I was glad that I played. I don't know that it's a game that I would want to stick with long term or a game that I would really come back to. And so Pendragon was fine. I mean, again, I don't think it's a bad game, but not something which is going to stay with me as being something which was truly memorable in my view. All right, that brings us to game 26. Game 26 was an interesting one. This was Late Shift, and it was the first time in a long time that I had played a full motion video game. These were all the rage at a certain stage during the mid 90s, mid to late 90s. If you think of things like Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers, I played that. Noctropolis, obviously the Tex Murphy games. These were all full motion video games, which were pretty cool in their way. The problem with a lot of those full motion video games was, number one, same issue with the point and click stuff. Like, it was still point and click stuff is still has a very limited shelf life for me. And then the second thing was that it could feel a little bit distancing because you're clicking on something and like they're going towards it, and then like you click it in and then they're like doing something else because they're obviously you've chosen a new branching path, and it makes you feel like you're watching an interactive movie. And because you're watching an interactive movie, it also makes you feel a little bit like you're not really, invested in it, I think, in the same way. But Late Shift, I have to say, because of the professional way in which it was filmed, because of the stories that it was telling, avoided a lot of those problems. Not all of them. It still had some of those issues. It was also it was right on the edge of too violent for what I usually like to watch or play, certainly. But it was enjoyable. It was engaging. I did feel as if I was able to get my own kind of like playthrough. It wasn't one of those things where I got through it and I'm like, well, that sucked, and I didn't actually choose any of those things. Like, I felt like it honored the choices that I tried to make. And it was also playable in a short period of time. So Late Shift was a lot of fun. And I think Late Shift was also another Patreon fueled chat chosen game of the month choice. So again, really enjoyed those. By the way, you'll notice that so far, none of these are off stream and none of these are new games this year. They were just new to the channel or new to me playing them. And so that's just interesting that that's where those games have shown up to this point. Although, as I say, not all the time. There are going to be other things that sort of move up in that list as well. So Late Shift was number 26 on the list. All right, that brings us then to number 25 on the list. And as we move into the top 25, we move to a more traditional kind of game. Yes, I think you would like Late Shift. I agree. Yes, I totally agree. It's a Scottish studio. I do think you would like that. I think it'd be interesting for you to play. You could probably play that like in an hour and a half on your stream, Drew. You could easily do that in a night. Easily. So that might be actually fun. You should tell me if you're going to play it because I think that would be cool. Number 25 on this list is Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Now, I, of course, have heard of this game, and I have played other Star Wars Jedi games in the past, but I had not had a chance to play this one. I think the only issue I have with this, so there are a lot of things that do work well. Obviously, the Star Wars universe is something which I like quite a bit. As you can tell, I like that world quite a bit, and there are a lot of things that I think are very positive about that world. And I think that it sort of captures those things well. Also, it was from a kind of golden age of LucasArts games in which that game is being produced and in which you really feel like, wow, like this, like they're really going to town on stuff which is part of this mix that wouldn't have been there otherwise. And that was very exciting to be able to watch this. Did I not do that? I thought that I did, but maybe I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to that. I don't understand why there's one of these things that I thought I had. Oh, okay. Wait a second. Okay. Well, all right. Then I'm gonna have to do this a different way. Sorry, I just found a couple of the things that I downloaded were not what I thought I downloaded. So, all right, I will address that problem right now. So anyway, yes, I really enjoyed, I enjoyed aspects of Jedi Knight for sure. That said, I also think that especially graphically, this has not aged super well. And I think the problem with that is that it sometimes makes it literally hard to see what you're doing. There were definitely times where I felt like I didn't even know exactly. Hold on a second. I really, really am frustrated with my mouse. I have to get a new mouse, which is not working the way it should be. Logitech, why you have to be so frustrating? Okay. All right. So, okay. That fixes that. Good. I got one of those down. Great. Okay. So anyway, so Jedi Knight did not sort of hit all the right press all the right buttons for me in the way that I might have hoped. Um, and I found it also a little bit just control scheme wise and otherwise just sort of janky. Like I felt it was one of those deals where I'm like, I'm supposed to be a super skilled Jedi, right? And yet I felt like a lot of what I was doing was like, and it was just because of sort of the control system and the way it was set up was just not what I might have hoped for. And so that was unfortunate. I won't lie. That was something which was unfortunate and which I kind of wish I had known was going to be the case before I got there. That's whatever. I mean, I don't mean like that people should have told me. I mean, it was just one of those things where I was playing it and I'm like, yeah, I could see this working if the game were newer and remastered. Like it really needs to be remastered one way or the other. Um, and so that was something that I think was important to kind of keep in mind. That this was something that really felt to me. One second. Great. Okay. So that was something which was really important to me, to be able to feel as if in some way I was like invested in the process of being a Jedi Knight instead of just being whatever this turned out to be. Again, I'm probably being a little too negative about it. I did enjoy it. I did have fun with it. But it was not a game that in the end I was sort of disappointed that it wasn't more of what I was hoping for from Jedi Knight. That was too bad. And so that was too bad. And that was something that I just, I think in the end, um, I would have liked to have seen more of the Jedi related stuff that wasn't as janky basically to play with. And part of that I think is just a function of how new, or rather old in this case, the game actually was. So, not a bad game, but definitely not the kind of game that I felt like I would want to return to in all likelihood, at least not without looking at it as a remaster, in one form or there we go, in one form or another. Just had to download that other file, which I have now done. Yeah, exactly, Jasper. That was kind of my feeling about it. I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't, that was just whatever. So, having said that, it was fine. It just wasn't my favorite of the games that are in the list, but still was okay. All right, that leads us to now we're starting to get into games that I did like, and it's not so much about the games themselves; it's just about the fact that I have other stuff that I was playing that these are sort of lower on the list. First one of those is a game that I actually played off stream, which I want to recommend to people, by the way, and that is a game called Letter Quest Remastered. This is a game that I actually played very recently off stream with my son, with Little Arv, and that was really awesome. I actually really enjoyed Letter Quest. Basically, you run along, what it is you run along this area. There are these little cute little reapers you can actually see there, like Grim and whatever. And as you're doing this, as you're sort of moving on, doing this thing, you you're stopped every so often by creatures, and the way to defeat the creatures is to spell words from the letters. So you're literally spelling words from letters as you go along, which I think is really cool, actually. And it was a lot of fun to play that, because my son, who's a very good reader, was actually getting into he had the opportunity to sort of get into these games, to get into this game, without thinking of it as like sort of school related. I mean, he's a good student anyway, but he's 7.5. Like if you're like, okay, let's sit down and do something educational, like he's not necessarily going to be all about it. So this was a game that he really had a lot of fun doing. Also, it's kind of deeper than one might expect. There are, as you go along, there are extra tiles that show up. So when they hit you, you take damage. Sometimes they will hit you and they'll actually poison, in quotes, the tiles that you have. And if you use those those tiles in a word, then you will take damage, or they will crack tiles, which mean you don't get any points for tiles, and you have to score a certain number of points with words to overcome the different creatures that you're defeating. There are stores that sell you like upgraded damage or upgraded letters and stuff like that. It was very neat. It's a game that we had a chance to play for a couple hours. We're going to play more of it. And apparently, as you see, it's Letter Quest remastered. So I don't know how much better it is than the original Letter Quest. I know that it is not new to this year, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was available on the Switch. It is on sale, by the way. So if anyone is a parent or has young like nieces or nephews or people like that or cousins, and they have a Switch and would like to play it, I was able to get this actually for free because I had some Nintendo points built up, but it costs right now on sale $2. So I was like, you know what? The price is right. Like now is the time to do this. So think about that. Letter Quest Remastered is something I can recommend. Again, I played this off stream, but it was a lot of fun. All right, that brings us to number 23. And in 23, I bring to you a, whoops, sorry. I forgot to transition out of that. A building full of cats. Now, this technically is actually number 23 is a castle full of cats, followed by a building full of cats. So we had a castle full of cats and then we had a building full of cats, and I played both of them. This is basically a hunt the object game. You may have seen a lot of these games from like Big Fish. They show up on Android quite a bit, Android type of games. And the hunt the fish type of, or hunt the object type of game is where you're looking around, finding the game, and then clicking on it, right? Seems very simple, except that a lot of these games can get very sort of like I don't know, difficult, complicated. And this was a lot of fun. This was a game that I actually really enjoyed playing because, I mean, for one thing, I didn't even have cats at the time. It's sort of funny now that I think about the fact that I have officially become a cat owner. But the other reason that I really liked it, castles or buildings. Yes, thank you. That's true. It is a building full of cats and a castle full of cats. Actually, a castle in some ways was even more enjoyable because there were like extra like special things. There was like at the end that you basically have a boss fight that you have to do and everything. It was really cool. I had a great time with both of these. They were cheap. I think they were both available on GOG, I want to say. I don't remember if these were GOG games, to be honest with you, or if they were Steam games, but they are definitely not expensive. In fact, I'm curious how much a building full of cats is. Let's see. Building full of cats. Oh, a building full of cats is on GOG, which is probably where I got it. And right now it is on sale. Well, it sells at full retail price for $1.99. You can get it for 20% off for $1.59. So again, this is a game that definitely I think is worth getting. It's charming, it's fun, it's very cozy, it's chill. Hey, what's up, Shadow? Good to see you, Shadow Mage. It reminds me a little bit of in terms of its charm. I was reminded a little bit of Unpacking. I certainly was reminded of Purgatory, which is a game that we had a great time with as well, and last year. But definitely a building full of cats was definitely a good time. So Castle Full of Cats was 23. Building Full of Cats was 22. I didn't bother to get Castle Full of Cats image because I don't think I needed it. But those two, 23 and 22, Castle Full of Cats and Building Full of Cats on the list. The last game that just missed outside the top 20 was this game, and that is Star Control 2. And again, this is not a negative on Star Control. This is a game that I may very much come back to. I think my only real objection to this game was the fact that it definitely felt like it had a learning curve. Which I was kind of like struggling a bit to kind of get a hold of. I'm sure that I could do so. Like, I'm sure it would not be hard to do. And I'm pretty sure it was Prince Justin who nominated this. And I enjoyed a lot of the interactions with the alien races. And I enjoyed a lot of the sort of the gameplay loop, I think is pretty cool. So I think it's the kind of game that, given a little bit of time and effort, I think I could definitely do something with. This is another game, by the way, that I think would do super well with a remaster. Just some quality of life stuff, some quality of life improvement without losing the sense of humor and the kind of fun underpinning of it that I think works really well. So I think that would be super cool. I really liked Star Controller 2. Again, it's just because I didn't have a chance to play it any longer than I did. And yeah, it has, as Prince Justin says, it shows its age, but I don't think it showed its age as much as something like one of the other ones I mentioned, Die by the Sword, or even Jedi Knight, or Jedi Academy, which is why it's higher on the list for me. I liked a lot of the sort of the character of the game, the charm of the game, but it definitely could have done with a little bit of some modern update quality of life improvements. Nonetheless, I did really like Star Control 2, and so that is number 21 on the list. Okay, now we move into number 20. This is the first brand new game that came out this year on the list, and this was The Pale Beyond. Sorry, I forgot to change that. The Pale Beyond. Very interesting game that reminds me a lot of sort of what would happen if you took Frostpunk and the Banner Saga and mashed them up together. The Pale Beyond was very cool. There's a lot of sort of crew management, figuring out how to address it. Also reminded me a little bit of Return of the Obra Dinn, partially, not in terms of gameplay or look, but something about the feel of it. It was really neat. Now, one of the things that was interesting to me was that a lot of people had said this was a game that I was going to find maybe too depressing. I did not find it so, but I think that's because I probably didn't play it long enough for it to be that way. In fact, I even thought about playing it more, and then a bunch of other games came up, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to come back to this at some indeterminate point in the future. And maybe there would come a point where I'd get really frustrated with it because it's just one of those, like, this is the slightly less terrible choice over the more terrible choice. But I really liked The Pale Beyond that. I thought that the storytelling was interesting. The vibe of it was interesting, and some of the gameplay loop stuff again. I'll talk about gameplay loop quite a bit with a few of these games on this list. That gameplay stuff I thought was handled well with The Pale Beyond. So I liked it. And it wasn't higher on the list because, again, sort of dystopian, post-apocalyptic almost is not really my bag. But having said that, I did like The Pale Beyond quite a bit. And so that enters number 20 officially on my list. Okay. Now, number 19 is back to a not new game, but it was definitely new for me. And this is a game that was, again, a Patreon-fueled chat-chosen game of the month option. It was also a game, I should say, that as I was looking at it, as I was thinking about it, was a game that I had considered playing before. And so it was neat to actually get a chance to do it. And that is Obsidian's The Outer Worlds. This is a game which a lot of people love a lot, and I can see why. There's a great sense of humor about it. It's got a very sort of Fallout tone to it, I think is the way I would describe it. And it is a game that does a lot of things well, both with the gunplay and with some of the sort of, the options available to you from a role-playing point of view. I am persuaded, though, that the game also is more limited than one might think, and there is a little bit of the I'm always smugly satirical about everybody that maybe kind of can drag a little bit. Now, again, I didn't get much of a feel of that, but I only played it for the one session. And that means that, I have to think about, is that the kind of thing I would feel more of over time? This is definitely one of the games that I am interested in coming back to at some point in the future, for sure. But it is something that I noticed as I was playing it that I'm like, this is cool. I wonder if I would still think it was cool, 5 sessions from now or something. I don't know. But it is very polished. It's obviously, at this point, I think it is, what is this now? I think that's the definitive edition or whatever they call it. Yeah, very interesting stuff. And I think, again, if you like, or the other thing is, again, it's got that slightly dystopian tinge that I don't love. But if you like Fallout, for example, this game is right up your alley. If you like Fallout, you like space-oriented games, this is a good combination of both of those. And I think you should definitely consider checking it out. So Outer Worlds, number 19 on my list. Okay, number 18 is another off-stream game that I played, and that is, and I believe it's pronounced Ys Origins. Ys Origins was very cool. This is a game, really the first game that I played on Steam Deck off stream, and I got very far in it. In fact, I think I'm close to the end of it, but I'm kind of stuck on one boss, and I've gotten frustrated because I don't want to play this. I'm just kind of like, I don't want to play this game. Grumble, grumble, grumble. So at some point, I may come to it and see if I can actually finish it. But I did like Ys Origins quite a bit. This is an action-oriented. It is a role-playing game, but it's an action-oriented game. It would remind you a little bit of a real-time single person, so not a party, but an individual Trails in the Sky, with a more complex story than you might expect. So Ys, so we're talking Ys Origins? Yeah, that's true. It definitely is not super long. That's true. Ys Origins. Okay. Very much like this, liked this game again, and there's a very cool, like, not only gameplay loop, but there is a there's just a cool upgrade sort of system and approach to this that I like quite a bit. And this is considered to be one of the better Ys games to start with, because there's this whole series, and if you go online, there's quite a Reddit rabbit hole about which is the best one of these to begin. And I was just kind of like, this seems to be the consensus. I'll start with this one. But again, I was able to get it on my Steam Deck. It's also beautifully suited for the Steam Deck because, again, not a huge screen. It is a little bit small, so you need to have your glasses, if you're like me, or whatever, ready to play it. But it's definitely one of those games that I was just kind of like, a big screen might help a little bit, but I like this quite a bit. And this is a game that I could see myself coming back to. I don't really think it's a stream game for me, but it's a game that I might like playing, and I should probably just finish it because I'm pretty close to being done off stream. So that was an off stream game for me, which was number 18 on my list. This next one, I will fully admit, this is a game, again, off stream. I played this a bunch with my son, and I played this because my son had played it, was really excited to play it with me. And that is NBA 2K23. But the other reason is I haven't actually ever played an NBA game, at least not one for 15 years at least. And I will fully admit, now some of you will know that I do like sports, and I do like a number of different sports, but I have been a big fan. Let me just make sure that I'm clear about this. Yes, I can say this. I am a big fan still of basketball because the Celtics beat the Raptors. Let's go. They won last night. They beat the Detroit Pistons. They won again. The Celtics are my favorite team in pro basketball, and they are currently the best team in the league. They are 25-6. That's an 806 winning percentage, 9-1 in their last 10, and they literally have the best record in the league. Just saying, just wanted to make that clear. But yes, so I have actually been enjoying playing NBA 2K23. The only problem that we're having is that my son never wins. And so you could make the argument like, well, you have to help him. You have to let him win. And then this whole thing like, do you let him win? Do you not let him win? What is the lesson that you send either way? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm still sort of working that out. I'm here to tell you, I am not firing on all cylinders when I play against him. I have done such things as play, for example, the Atlanta Hawks against last year's Golden State Warriors, the champion Golden State Warriors. I've let him play the 1992 Dream Team with Michael Jordan. I've let him play the Dream Team, the later Dream Team with MJ and Kobe Bryant, while I was playing like the current 2 and 20 billion Pistons. So I have been making an effort, but unless I'm just going to literally just stand there and let him dunk on me repeatedly, we haven't quite measured up in skill level. I'm sure that time will eventually come. That said, he has had a lot of fun playing with me, and there's actually a campaign mode that I've played with as well, which has been funny, and I've played a bunch off stream, and I don't know that this is an on-stream game, really, but it might be fun to play it on stream someday, just so you can see how goofy I look, as my nickname in the stream, which you can pick, is the Professor. And I'm supposed to be a 3-point specialist, and I sure haven't shown it in the games I've played. The game is not easy when I'm playing against the PC. At least not when I'm playing with my own player, but, whatever. Anyway, it's been fun to kind of play that. So NBA 2K23 was fun time. Off stream, that is number 17 on the list. Next few games are also off stream, but they're good ones. And the next one is fairly easy. and that is another Stream Deck one, a Steam Deck, I should say, and that is the House of Da Vinci. I played and won the House of Da Vinci, and I have played about halfway, maybe a third of the way through the House of Da Vinci 2. These are puzzle games. These are straight up puzzle games, but I really like the vibe on these puzzle games. They are sometimes a little bit obscure. There have been times where I've had to look up solutions because they were so complicated that I was just kind of like, dude, like what are we even doing here? But I liked the storytelling, I liked the vibe of it and the feel of it. There were just a lot of cool things that I liked about the House of Da Vinci. And again, they are very, very well suited for the Steam Deck. If you have not already done so, if you do have a Steam Deck or something like that, this is a game that works perfectly on that. It's portable. You can play it obviously wherever. If you're in that position, you could also just play it on a laptop or whatever. Not expensive. I don't know that it's available on GOG. It may only be available on Steam. I'm not 100% sure. But the House of Da Vinci is another one of these games that I would highly recommend if you like puzzles. Now, if you don't like puzzles, stay far away because this thing is just puzzles. And there's also a story to it. And there's actually kind of an interesting story for both the first one and the second one, but for both House of Da Vinci and House of Da Vinci 2. There's also a different sort of time mechanic where you're able to sort of look back in time. I don't want to spoil it, but you'll see when you actually play it. Very cool though, and I enjoyed playing this. And so House of Da Vinci 2, I would put right now at 16. House of Da Vinci 1, I put at 15. That could switch depending on what happens whenever I finish Da Vinci 2. But as of right now, House of Da Vinci 2, 16, House of Da Vinci 15. And that again was also off stream. And I think that's closing in. I have one more game off stream, and everything else was stuff that I played on stream. So this is the highest off-stream game that I've played. And I actually just recently had a chance to play this, and I want to recommend it highly. This is Legends of Amberland. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, Legends of Amberland and Legends of Amberland 2 are basically, I think, a one-person project. It is essentially a dungeon crawler, a turn-based dungeon crawler in the mode of something like Lands of Lore or Might and Magic or one of those games, or even, God help me, Wizardry in certain contexts, in which you are moving tile by tile, right? And it's not real time, so you see these ones, and as you move, they move towards you, and eventually you engage them in combat. Now, this game has a story. It's not bad. It has characters that you can create from the beginning. It doesn't take you long to do that, with a variety of different races and different options and subclasses and things like that. What I really like about this is that it's a game that knows exactly what it is, and just as soon as you have it down, you can just go through and play it. It's a really fun game to play and enjoy also while you're watching other stuff, while you're watching, sports, or while you're listening to someone else or whatever. It's just kind of a fun, relaxed game, especially because of the turn-based portion of it. It gives you a chance to kind of think through things. And again, it's another game which is not expensive. Legends of Amberland right now is, I believe, $9.99 on Steam. It is not available. Actually, no, I take that back. It is available on GOG. It's $9.99 on Steam. Let me take a look and see what's available on GOG. Okay, so on Steam, it's $9.99. On GOG.com, it may be on sale actually right now. Yes, so it's on sale right now as well on GOG, also for $9.99. Normally retails for $20. And you can actually get that and Legends of Amberland 2 on Steam, I want to say for $40. I think probably close to that on GOG.com as well. It's a very small install, so it also works very well in a portable setup. It'll run on anything pretty much that you have that is a PC related thing. So it'll run on the Steam Deck. It'll run on a laptop, even an old laptop it'll run on. You can also, I believe, get it for Switch, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a very cool game that I would recommend if you like this sort of dungeon crawler game. One warning, it is pixel-based graphics, which is not something, I don't love pixel-based graphics. And so Lands of Lore, which is much more kind of not photorealistic, but it's much more, graphically intense even. Legends of Amberland is not that. But it's even got some decent music too. So I like Legends of Amberland, and I recommend it if you like that sort of game. Legends of Amberland, The Forgotten Crown. Can't comment about 2 because I haven't played it yet, but I may tell you more about that next year when I actually play it. But for right now, number 14, Legends of Amberland. And again, that's my last off-stream game that I played. That leads us to, again, from this point forward, on stream stuff. And the first one is a game which I actually just recently played. And in case Echo is sad because I'm not really big on Die by the Sword of Detective Gallo, which I know he was fans of, I think he'll be pretty happy about this one, because this was a game that I almost didn't even play because I couldn't get it to run. And that's Dungeon Siege. This is number 13, and I literally just played this on Tuesday. I really liked Dungeon Siege a lot, and this is a game that I'm actually going to be coming back to. No, it did not. Sadly, Dragonspear. Sadly, it did not. Because I think I actually played that last year, actually. I don't think I played that this year. So I did not even enter on my list, I'm sorry to say. Actually, I want to just see something. Yeah, Cyberpunk was last year, so was not this year. Good to see you, Dragon, by the way. So number 13 was Dungeon Siege. I really liked Dungeon Siege, much more than I was expecting to. I thought that I would like it okay. I thought it would be like an action RPG, a Diablo-style thing. But I actually found that it was much more... I think partly I love the music, Jeremy Soule, so that's right up my alley. I dig that. I really liked the sort of gameplay loop. It was a better story than I was expecting. It's not like amazing, but it was a better story. And I felt like I love the customizability of it without being overwhelming, that I could make myself into a combat mage specialist or a range specialist or whatever the case would be. Yeah, I haven't played Phantom Liberty though, so I couldn't comment on that. So I really, really like Dungeon Siege. And in fact, I am going to be playing this again on GOG.com. My plan is to finish playing Tintin Reporter, Cigars the Pharaoh, and then I'm going to move on to Dredge, and then I'm going to move on to Dungeon Siege on GOG.com's Twitch channel and Pen and Pixels. So I'm definitely going to be doing that down the line. But I really like Dungeon Siege, and I'm also excited because I know you can play even multiplayer with it, and I might be able to get some people to join me, especially if they can jump in, jump out. I don't know whether they can do that, but they used to be able to do stuff like that with Neverwinter. That would be really cool if you could jump in and jump out on stuff like this. That would be super neat. So so I am excited for more Dungeon Siege, and I really liked that quite a bit. So that entered number 13 on my list for this year, and the only reason it isn't higher is because I just started playing it, but I did like it a lot. So number 13, Dungeon Siege. Okay. Number 12 is a game that I know that many of you also appreciated, and that is The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. What could you dislike about a game which is A, I believe, free, B, is about a character about which we're all familiar, and C, is a game about all those things while being a murder mystery and having some gameplay to it and having lots of inside jokes about Sonic in these games? I really liked The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. It was fun. There were definitely frustrations about some of the way in which the game was deployed that I did not like as much. But it was one of those games that does not overstay its welcome, and that I felt as I was playing it, I'm like, you know what? This is a game that works. This is a game that actually sets out to do something and does it. And I really appreciated that. It wasn't just a commercial, game that was just sort of cashing in on stuff. It actually was a legitimate game that was fun in its own right. Also had a really good music theme. And if you were any kind of a Sonic fan, I mean, I'm a very, very casual Sonic fan. I've played Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2, and I like Sonic fine, but I'm not like a Sonic nut. If you happen to really like Sonic, oh man, you should be all over this game because there's so much inside stuff that I'm sure that I even missed in the process of playing through it. So The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog was really great. That was number 12. Just missing the top 10. And this has a lot of sort of Sonic the Hedgehog vibes for me. I was very close to moving this into the top 10, but it didn't quite make it there for me. But it was still cool. And that was this I Love You, Colonel Sanders. This game was like, I don't even know if I can describe this game. I mean, it's technically a visual novel, but it's a visual novel sponsored by Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I have no idea whether KFC knew what it was doing when it gave money to someone to make this, but it did. It's hard to explain. You end up battling food. You end up using ones it was very strange. And yes, it was a romance novel. It was definitely a game that I liked a lot. And I almost moved this to 10th. It was very close, and I might have done so in other circumstances. But I really liked "I Love You, Colonel Sanders." Yeah, it was just so, it was charming. It was fun. It didn't overstay its welcome. It felt like it was both satirically on point and sort of like made sense, like, connected with a lot of the genres that it understood, but did so while still being wholesome somehow. And that was really neat. I really like that as well. So "I Love You, Colonel Sanders" was 11. 11, just outside the top 10. Again, as I say, I really liked "I Love You, Colonel Sanders." I almost moved it in the top 10, but it couldn't quite get there. But yes, highly recommend this. Again, I believe it's a free game. And it's on Steam. It's available on Steam. I don't think it's available on GOG, just on Steam. It's a fun game, and if you love any visual novel stuff at all, you should definitely check this out. If you especially like things like the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney games that I've been playing and stuff like that, you definitely should check this out. And again, there's a connection, I think, between Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, which was new this year, and "I Love You, Colonel Sanders." Now, I should mention so far, I've only had, I think, 2 new games on here. Pale Beyond was new this year, and again, that was number 20. And Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog was new this year, and that was number 12. A lot more new games coming up, but that was what I had in terms of those. They're both commercials, so yes, they are basically free. They're commercials for their product, but that's basically it. "I Love You, Colonel Sanders." Really enjoyed that game a lot. That was number 11. That moves us into number 10. Oh yeah, Drew, you should 100% try "I Love You, Colonel Sanders." It was really funny. Yeah, I recommend it. Okay. So number 10 is not an off-stream game because I played a lot of it off-stream, but I played it on-stream with my family on Christmas Day. That was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, let me explain. First of all, I have always kind of liked the Mario Kart games from back in the day when I was playing them back in college, back in the mid-90s when it was a lot earlier Mario Kart, I'm here to tell you. I think it was actually the original Mario Kart, if I'm not mistaken. So that's part of it. But the other reason that I like this game is because my kids like it a lot, and both of them enjoyed it, and it was another example of Nintendo sometimes being able to do things that just work without having to go through a bunch of bells and whistles really helps. This is a game that I threw on my Switch, which continues to be the console that just keeps on giving. I threw this game on my Switch, and I can play it with myself. I can play with 2 people, which I often do with my son, sometimes with my daughter. I've played it with 3, my son, my daughter, and myself. And as you saw, I had a Switch Pro controller for me. I had another controller that I got for little Arv that she's had for years, which was the Toad controller that I had for her. The Joy-Cons, click, click, they move to the side, and all of a sudden you can have 4 people playing split screen. In fact, it did capture okay, but it was interesting because it was pushing the limits of the AverMedia Live Gamer Duo, because trying to encapsulate and then encode all 4 of those streams plus my camera, because remember, that's this camera and the games are all coming through the Live Gamer Duo, and doing that while streaming at 1080p 60, that definitely pushed it. So there was pixelation on the camera, I noticed, when we had the 4-player split screen. But it was definitely great. I really loved that. It was awesome. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a lot of fun. There's a DLC that's available for it as well. Very well balanced. And again, if you like Nintendo, there's nothing not to like here. It's great to play with kids because you can also tune it down. You can play like Grand Prix and stuff like that. So you can very much limit the amount of times that they're just getting crushed by other players. You can also increase the difficulty if they're better than that. So it's very customizable and all that. And I really liked Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I did play this on stream once, and this was number 10 on my list. All right, now we're moving into a series of new games in a row. Number 9 on my list is one that I played on GOGCOM's Twitch channel and part of Pen and Pixels, and that was this, The Bookwalker Thief of Tales. I liked this game a lot. I thought this game was very interesting. It reminded me a bit in sort of graphical design of The Immortal, and it's sort of hard to explain why. It was just something about the feel of it graphically that reminded me a bit of The Immortal, if anyone has ever played that game. Also, the way you move around kind of isometrically. It is about someone who basically goes into books to steal things from the books for other people. And I won't spoil it for you, but as you go through the game, you realize the reason he's doing this is because he needs money to get out of his shackles, because he's been kept from doing what he's able to do in these games, in these books normally, which is use all this special power by going into these books. He's been limited in what he's able to do with that because of some terrible thing that he did. I don't know what it is, or rather, he doesn't know what it is at the very beginning, but you learn it over the course of time. Again, another great game that I really liked a lot. There are a couple of little sort of semi-janky elements of it that I think could have been better handled. But in terms of the sort of flexibility of it, and in terms of the, I would say most of all, in terms of the variety of the books that you entered and what you have to get each time, very, very cool. A game that I really dug a lot, and I really recommend the Bookwalker Thief of Tales, and I'm excited if you are going to play that. That's a game too. You can probably get through that, Drew. I mean, I got through it in about maybe, probably 12 to 15 hours, I would say. You could probably do it in like 4 sessions, 5 sessions. Another game that I like because it also didn't overstay its welcome, and it's thoughtful. There are games there where it made you think about writing. Obviously, that's something I dig. But there were also elements there where it made you think about other things, and I was like, So I like the Bookwalker Thief of Tales. Highly recommend. That was new this year, and that is available on GOG.com's Twitch channel. Or GOG.com's Twitch channel. It's available on GOG.com. In fact, let me just double check and see if that's on sale, because we have a big winter sale going on right now on GOG.com. And yes, it is 35% off. Right now, it's normally retails at $15. Right now, it's retailing for less than $10. It's $9.74. So definitely worth that. I mean, it is definitely worth getting. Good stuff. I really like the Bookwalker Thief of Tales. All right, that leads me to number 8, which is also new this year. And boy, am I glad that this game is something I can put on this list. Thank God they patched this. This is a game that the developer, the publisher is Microids, and now I'm forgetting. I think it is Tintin Imagio. I have to take a look at it again. Super, super, super glad that they patched this game. When I first started playing this game was not working. And that was really frustrating to me because I'm a big Tintin guy. I have all of the Tintin books. I've read them all to my kids. I like watching the series. I watched the movie, the first movie. I really like Tintin. I always have. I've listened to some of the BBC audio as well. It's very well plotted. It's a fun game. It's got nostalgia vibes for me too. A lot of great stuff about Tintin. So when I heard that this game was coming out, I was like, I am 100% going to cover this on Pen and Pixels. Story and narrative, adventure-based game, and everything else. And then I actually got it, and I saw the very first day that they released it that they were apologizing that it wasn't ready. Because again, probably the publisher Microids pushed them to release a game before it was ready. So tired of them doing this, because not only is it not only is it sort of morally not the thing to do, it also creates problems for you down the line because it's so hard to make a first impression. By the time I came back to the game, because it crashed, I literally couldn't get past this certain part early on in the game, and then it also lost my progress because the game doesn't let you save anywhere. Still doesn't let you save anywhere. I will renew my objection to games that do this. Let us save anywhere, okay? I don't care what game you have. You should be able to let us save anywhere, because if people don't want that, they don't have to do it. Like, an option is not a bad thing to include for people. So that just frustrates me. But it also, if you're going to have a checkpoint-based system that you don't have any control over, you better make damn sure that it doesn't, when it crashes, break the game. And that happened to me. And at that point, I'm like, I am putting this aside. And we're at another kind of IP, I probably wouldn't have come back to it. But in this case, I love the IP so much that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give them a chance to patch, and then I'll come back to it. And I went and I played Celeste Palace of Ice, finished that up. And by the time I came back, they had patched this not once, not twice, but 3 separate times on the game. Hold on, did I hear something? No, I guess not. I had played this 3 separate, it really had. I had played this, they had patched it no less than 3 separate times. And thank God they fixed it. I am really happy they did because I really enjoyed this game a lot. First of all, they have nailed the art style. It is a 3D version of Tintin. It really feels accurate. If you look at the illustrations, the graphic portrayals of Sarcophagus, one of the characters in the game, or even someone like Tintin a little bit, or some of the others, the Thompson twins, they nailed it. Really interesting graphically. They also nailed the music and the sort of immersion of it. And even the thing itself, it feels like you're walking into the book and then it's showing you the pages in between the pages of the book, where it's showing you all of this extra stuff with like puzzles to do and stuff like that. It also doesn't feel too difficult. My main objection to it still is no save anywhere, which still pisses me off. They should have that. And then two, there is still some jankiness to the controls, like the fact that the control system doesn't work. Hey, what's up, Divinorium? Good to see you. That is something which irritates me. And they should be able to get it where it's just you plug in a controller and it just works. Like it should not be something which is hard to do because it's a game which in many ways could benefit from a basic controller setup, and it does not. It just doesn't do that. It's not plug and play, which is annoying. Even despite that, I really, really enjoyed playing this a lot. And I had a chance. I played it a little bit and I'm like, I hope it'll be good. And then it crashed. They have fixed that. It did not crash actually at all, which was nice. It didn't crash at all. It just was really enjoyable. I'm really excited to play it, play more of it on GOG.com, which I'm going to be doing as soon as I get another video game stream, either next week or the week after, on that channel. So really like Tintin Reporter Cigars the Pharaoh. And yeah, really liked it. And again, part of this, admittedly, it might have been a little lower for me if it were not for how much I like the IP, but it really was lovingly designed graphically. Like it really does feel like you're playing a 3D Tintin, and that's really cool if you like the system. So if you're not as much of a Tintin guy as I am, you may not like this as much, but I still think you would enjoy it as an adventure game, and that I think is pretty cool. So there is that. That is number 8 on the list. Now, number 7 on the list is probably not going to come as a surprise to any of you who watched me play this the first time, because man, did I love this game. And that is Dredge. This was another one of the Patreon Field Chat Chosen Games of the Month, and I loved Dredge. First of all, again, this game was spooky, not scary, and that's a big difference for me. I didn't do jump scares, did not do a bunch of gore, did not do all that stuff. I just really liked it. I liked the feel. I liked the vibe. I viewed the game with tin-tinned glasses. That's a good one, Dragon. Yes, I did. Well done. Well done. That's good stuff. I really, really, really loved Dredge. I forgot to mention, by the way, that Tintin right now is 30% off. It is normally $40. It's on sale for $27.99. I'll be honest, I don't know how long the game plays. Unless you're a big Tintin fan, I don't know that I would pick it up at $40. But at $28, I might seriously consider it. So that's something to think about. That's something to consider. Another game, since we're talking about Dredge, is this game here, which is I got Dredge. Now, I got Dredge, the digital deluxe edition is what was given to me. That right now is on sale for 25% off. That is $26.24. It's normally $34.99. The game is worth $34.99. And the original Dredge is $25 normally. It's $18.74 right now. Super, super worth it. This game I loved, not just because of the gameplay, because of the environment, and because of the music, and because of the feel of it and everything. The gameplay loop is just awesome. You feel like you're going out, you're building the gameplay loop, you're building up your ship, you're upgrading your ship, you're going and doing a couple of different quests. A couple times you get back just in time. You have to I don't know. It didn't feel overwhelming to me. It just felt like a very, very well, finely balanced thing. I listened to a little bit of a podcast on this, and it was actually Kropotkin, UK, who put me onto this. And I listened to a little bit of it where they were talking about how important it was to make the player feel always a little bit uncomfortable. The way that I read it, though, was not uncomfortable just as much as there was always a sense of it had that just one more turn feel, you know. Poor Triffid couldn't even stick it out because I like kept playing. I played like 5.5 or 6 hours that first day. I was just like, this game's so good. So I really like this. And as I say, after I finish, I finished the last, after I finish Tintin Cigars the Pharaoh, next game up on Pen and Pixels is going to be Dredge because I want to play that game and finish it. Really, really like Dredge a lot. Highly recommend this. And at $18.74, very worth it. So again, you can get that on GOG right now. And that again is another new game this year. So far, new games that I played this year were The Pale Beyond, that was new this year. The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, that was new this year. Bookwalker Thief of Tales, that was new this year. Tintin Reporter Cigars the Pharaoh, new this year. Dredge was new this year as well. So just to kind of keep that in mind, those are the new ones that we've had so far. Really, 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 really like Dredge. It was very good stuff. Okay. So that is game number 7. This leads us now. So now we're starting to get in the games that it's getting more complicated to like rank because they're all in the same kind of general ballpark. Although this one definitely is not up at the level of the ones that are my top ones. But I really did like this a lot. And that was despite some of the issues that I had with it. And the game that I am talking about is this one. That's Styx, Master of Shadows. I liked Styx a lot for several reasons. First of all, this is a stealth-based game. It was a little bit like feeling like Dishonored, where you were playing a like strict, straight-ahead stealth game. And frankly, it's so stealth-based that like trying to play it any other way, like they have this whole thing where like you can like battle, like if people catch you, you could try to fight them in hand-to-hand combat. You suck in hand-to-hand combat. Like basically your goblin is not capable of dealing with guys in hand-to-hand combat. It's about the stealth. So Styx is really based on stealth. But what I like about Styx beyond that is this is a surprisingly deep story. And it's a story with a twist that I did not see coming. It's a story that kind of leads you down a different direction. And for those of you who played Orcs Must Die, which I know about but have never actually played myself, this is actually a spin-off. For a spin-off, this is surprisingly deep. Like it's surprisingly complex. And I was very surprised that it was as complex as it was. What holds it back for me? A couple of things. I like that the game design has verticality as well as horizontality. So I liked that very much, and I like the different options available to you. Also, the fact that you can save anywhere, which again is a good thing. Couple things though. One, the language threw me out on a number of occasions, and that was kind of frustrating, I have to say. I found the game to be if I'm in the middle of a medieval fantasy-ish type game, I don't want people dropping F-bombs. Like, it just feels lazy to me, and I felt like there was too much of that in this game, which was kind of frustrating at times. Much more importantly, though, was as good as the level design was, there were occasions where, like literally about halfway through the game, they almost directly reverse the levels. That is to say, you play backwards through all the levels again, which I just think is lazy. It's not my least favorite thing. My least favorite thing is respawning enemies. My second least favorite thing is not letting you save anywhere. And my third not favorite thing is having to go backwards through levels you already went through forwards. Like, it just feels to me like you're just doing that because you don't want to actually spend the time to do it the right way. And so in the end, I just didn't, that really annoyed me. Exactly, Dragon. So that was frustrating to me. And it kept it from entering my top 5. That said, though, the way that the game does things, the story that it tells, and the sort of, as I say, the verticality of it, even some of the ways some of the boss fights and everything are handled, very, very well done. I like the use of Amber and how the Amber stuff is managed. So despite the fact that there's some jankiness in it, and despite the discomfort with the constant F-bombs, and despite the the kind of reversing levels, it still is a very cool all stealth game. And right now it is available on GOG.com for $2. It is currently on sale for 90% off. Master of Shadows normally retails at $20. It's currently $2. That is a huge steal. A huge steal. If you like stealth games at all, and taking a flyer on this for $2, more than worth it. Shards of Darkness, which is the follow-up, the sequel to it, is only $3. And I'm going to be playing Shards of Darkness at some point. I don't know when. It's going to take a while, but I at some point will play that again. So highly recommend Styx. Very, very cool game. And and I recommend it. And as I say, a game that the sequel of which I will come back to down the line. Just missed, though, my top 5. This now enters the top 5 games of the year for me. And game number 1, there we go. And game number 1 is this. And that is Chained Echoes. I really like Chained Echoes. I know Drew agrees with me on this. Chained Echoes is excellent. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Number 1, there's a great deal of variety. I think the storytelling is quite well done. The storytelling is elaborate and complex without being obnoxious. I do think my only complaint about the writing is that you can tell that the person doing this is not a native English speaker, because there are times where we just randomly throw in curses for no apparent reason. Like, you're just sort of like, and then effing. And you're like, what? No, we didn't jump from game 7. We just did, we did 6. We did Styx. 7 was Dredge, Configuration Queen. 6 was Styx, Master of Shadows. And now 5 is Chained Echoes. So, Chained Echoes. So sometimes the kind of dialogue is a little bit like, whoa, like it's sort of just odd to me. And I did feel like that was a problem with it. But I think the storytelling of it is quite well done, very reminiscent of sort of like the best of JRPGs. If you like JRPGs, this is very much in that mode. I love the idea that you have both these mechs that you ride around in, these sky armors, and also the people that you ride around in on land. And there's sort of a mixture of both of those. I think the system of building up into kind of the ready zone, but not the overheated zone, is very clever. And the way that balances off against the party means that combat is always interesting and always engaging and generally not too frustrating. I think my only issue with Chained Echoes, and the only reason it isn't higher, is that it's so freaking long. And that's not necessarily a problem, but from a stream game point of view, I played this a ton on GOG.com, and I still only got probably about maybe 60 to 70% of the way through it. Like, eventually I'm going to come back to it, but oh my God, it was one of those ones I'm like, oh man, like it goes on and on and on and on and on, which again may not be, and that's not even being a completionist. That's just, I also like the quest board, by the way, which are these little like linked quests that give you bonuses and benefits too. So I also like that. It just went on for a long time, and that was the only objection that I had. And it's the only reason really that it's not even higher in this list, is that it kind of overstays its welcome a little bit. I think I had to take a break from it, but I really like Chained Echoes a lot. It is again available on GOG.com, which is where I did most of my playing of it. It is also completely compatible with controllers. It worked, dead on, right off the bat. Please stop breaking. Okay. And it is on sale, excuse me, right now. Normally $24.99. It is on sale right now, 20% off for $19.99. So again, $20 for the amount of gameplay you're going to get to this. If you like Suikoden, if you liked Secret of Mana, which this reminded me a lot of, even like Legend of Evermore, Secret of Evermore, if you like those kinds of games, and if you like mechs as well, highly recommend. Chained Echoes was great. Also, combo attacks, like just a lot of very cool stuff. Also, really good music, I should say. I really liked the music of this as well. Yeah, exactly. It's just so freaking long. Very, very, very good. So, highly recommend Chained Echoes, number 5. Okay. Now, number 4 on the list is interesting. This actually ties with the lowest that I had the rest of this series. And under other circumstances, I might have placed this even higher. But there are also situations in which this could have gone also lower. And the real reason that I think it could have gone lower has to do with some of the issues that popped up here that I do not think popped up elsewhere in the series. And the game that I'm talking about is Inkle's Sorcery. This is Steve Jackson's Sorcery, Part 4, The Crown of Kings. Now, number 4, that's very high on my list, right? Crown of Kings is great, don't get me wrong. And it is complex, and it's rich, and the storytelling is deep, and it has so much good stuff going on. The map making is exquisite. absolutely exquisite. It's Mike Schley, who is my favorite map maker working today. It is absolutely exquisite. The music, the sound effects, like it's just gorgeous. It's also a great Steam Deck game. Absolutely gorgeous. The reason it's not higher, and it's tied with Shamutanti Hills, which was the lowest that I recommended, was the lowest that I had from a couple of years ago. Last year, Seven Serpents, I think, just missed. I think it was number 2. I want to say it was 2021. In 2021, Sorcery the Seven Serpents came in second behind only Metroid Dread. And that's only because Metroid Dread was unbelievably awesome. But Inkle's Sorcery the Seven Serpents came in second in 2021. And I think in 2019, Shamutanti Hills was 4. Kare City Port of Traps was 3. So this is of the group, I think of the series, this is my least favorite of the group. And the Crown of Kings in the original book series is the best of the group. Crown of Kings, I think, is the best game book ever made. I think it's an absolute triumph in every way. So this one was less that way for multiple reasons. One of the big mechanics, I don't want to spoil it, but one of the big mechanics that you're able to do all the way up to this game, you can't do once you get here. There's a mechanical reason for it that I understand, like a narrative reason, I should say, not mechanical, that isn't just a hand wave. I get it. But I still don't think you can have a mechanical change that severe this late in a game and not have negative effects. And that was what I felt, especially after what a triumph Seven Serpents was. Like, Seven Serpents is just a triumph in this game. And the other reason that was a problem here for me was that it was a stream game that I really wanted to finish on stream because I had played the other 3. I had to play a lot of it off stream, and I had to play a lot of it off stream using a guide because it was just so like invested and complex. And again, because of this not able to do this thing that you can do in the previous 3 games mechanic, that it just gets very like Dark Souls-y roguelite almost in a way that I'm just like, I think it's a misstep. And it reminds me, this is another thing I would say. So I like Inkle as a company. I think Inkle does many things very well. Around the World in 80 Days is great. This series is incredible. Some people think this is the best RPG series ever made. And all that. But when they go wrong, and they have gone wrong, as I mentioned, I think Heaven's Vault had issues, Pendragon had issues. Inkle's problem tends to be that something in the execution doesn't quite click. I don't know whether they just don't have enough QA or whether there's something that they get into their own bubble. Like, they don't like GOG, for example. Like, they're just like, yeah, it's not worth it. And I'm like, you're making a mistake. Like, this audience, the GOG audience, is exactly what Inkle should be going for. It's a mistake that they don't have themselves available on GOG. And that kind of attitude of just sort of like, yeah, no, we don't ever want to be on GOG. Like, there's not even let's think about it. They're just like, yeah, no. Not wild about that, quite honestly. And I think that the problem there is that they're just too, this is one of my most watched games. Yeah. They're too sure of themselves in a way. And I think that means that they don't go outside their own bubble. And I think that showed a little bit here. I'm sure they would have reasons for this. They'd be like, oh yeah, well, because of X, Y, Z, A, B, C, Q. Okay. But regardless, if you're going to go in a series that is a 4-part series, switching it up 75%, and really a little bit later than that, because you don't do this until the end, 80% of the way through, switching 80% of the way through to remove an entire mechanic completely and not even giving the player the choice as to whether to do that, not big on that. And it prevents you from one of the endings that you might otherwise get, which would really be the best ending based on something you can't do yourself. So that is the only thing that's frustrating. And yet, despite all of my concerns with these things, the storytelling is so good. And it is the conclusion to a spectacular role-playing series that reimagines a brilliant gamebook series and somehow makes it even better, that I can't come down on it harder than I have here. Like, I have to leave it at 4 because for all of my problems that I had that I just described, it's still so freaking great. It's just so great. Like there's so much great stuff. There's even a character at the end that comes back into the mix who becomes a character that you have in the first couple books, but becomes such a huge part of this at the end that you like actively are thinking about that character in the way that you decide whether you're going to end the game in a certain way. It's just super good. Also a very good Steam Deck game. So if you're not streaming it, if you're just playing it, 100% recommend. If you are willing to take your time with it, 100% recommend. It's just it's a great game. It's a great game. I think it could have been utterly transcendent. And I think they stumbled a bit at the end. If I had to rank these, I would go in the game book series. For me, it would go it would go in reverse order. It would go Crown of Kings number 1, Seven Serpents 2, City Port of Traps 3, Shamutanti Hills 4. And they're all great, but I would rank them in that order. Here, I would rank Seven Serpents number 1 for sure. I would rank City Port of Traps number 2. I would rank Shamutanti Hills 3, and I would rank this 4. And it's just because those frustrations, those annoyances, making it into a sort of roguelike almost, or roguelite style game, as opposed to what it was before, frustrating and unnecessary to me. And I just think that it was an execution misstep that could have been avoided. But having said all of that, it's still brilliant. And this entire series is brilliant. And if you like role-playing games at all, you owe it to yourself to play this series. You can probably get the whole series. In fact, let me see. It's not available on GOG, as I said. I think that's a big mistake by Inkle. And I've told their PR people this. I've told them it's a mistake to be avoiding GOG. Their audience, GOG's audience, would love this stuff. But whatever, they know their own business, I guess, as they see it. But I just think it's a mistake. But right now, you can get in the winter sale on Steam, you can get parts 1 and 2 of Sorcery. So that's Shamutanti Hills and City Port of Traps for 60% off. Right now, it is selling for $5.19. That is a spectacular deal. Yeah, Highland Song, which I actually have. I got that from their PR person, and I may very well play Highland Song at some point on stream. I don't know when, Jasper, but I may play that on stream. But that's another example. If that were on GOG, I would have put that right after Tintin. Like I would play Tintin, then I would play Highland Song, then I would play Dredge, then I would play Dungeon Siege. Because that's not it. It means it has to go into my rotation somewhere on my channel stream list. And that's going to be a while, which is too bad because I think Highland Song sounds like fun and I'd like to try it. Why they're not making themselves available on GOG, I just think is a mistake. But anyway, so right now, though, parts 1 and 2 on Steam, $5.19. Normally retails at $13. Even $13, honestly, for those two parts of the game is great. But man, $5.19, it is well worth it. Well worth it. Highly recommend Sorcery for that. In fact, the complete bundle, I didn't even see this. Sorcery, this is even better. Sorcery 1, Sorcery 2, Sorcery 1 and 2, Sorcery 3, and Sorcery 4 right now are 20% off. They normally retail for, it's more than that. They normally retail for $33. Right now, it is 68% off. You can get all 4 games for $10.50. If you have not played these, you need to play them. And you're and you're a role-playing fan at all, you've got to play these games. For $10.50, that's an incredible deal. That is multiple hours of incredible gameplay. And in fact, you can even get the Adventure Gamebook Collection, which has all those things, but also has Warlock of Firetop Mountain, Fighting Fantasy Legends, and it has Sorcery Parts 1 and 2, Warlock of Firetop Mountain, Fighting Fantasy Legends, and Fighting Fantasy Deathtop Dungeon Trilogy from our friends. Those are our friends at Nomad Games and also Tin Man Games and also Inkle. All of that for $11.66. I mean, it is brilliant. It's just brilliant. It's one of the best series you'll ever find. So totally recommend that. The maps are just so good. I have nothing but good things to say about that. So that was number 4 on my list. That was Sorcery, Crown of Kings. Great stuff. Okay. Last 3 games are all new this year. And one of them, I will admit, is a slight, it's not a cheat, but it takes a little bit of explaining, I guess. So let me go get that thing here because it's back a little bit. Here we go. Nope, not that. I have to go back even further. No, wait a minute. No. I have it further down than that. Oh, there we go. Okay. Number 3 on the list is this, Solasta Palace of Ice. Now, Solasta is not new this year. Solasta came out a few years ago, and as you know, I really like Solasta. In fact, Solasta last year, which was the first time, 2 years ago, 2021, which was when I first played Crown of the Magister, Solasta Crown of the Magister was great. I don't think I put Lost Valley actually last year on this, and I probably should have. But Solasta, Crown of the Magister. Oh, I know why. Because I played Lost Valley the same time I played Crown of the Magister, so I just put it all together. That was number 3 in 2021 for me. It is number 3 again for me this year because of Palace of Ice. As I've said many times, I think no one is better, excuse me, at 5e combat than Solasta. Solasta absolutely nailed the UI. They've nailed the feel of it. They've nailed the sense of the system. Everything about Solasta in terms of the combat, I think, is done brilliantly. Also, the level design is great. Just the class balance, like all of it is awesome. I really, really like Palace of Ice a great deal. And what's added to that is a much better story, I think, than the main game. Main game is fine, but it's not great. I still think the best of the stories actually is probably Lost Valley, which is a DLC which is separate from this kind of mainstream. But having said that, if I had to rank it, it would go like Lost Valley, Palace of Ice, and then main game. But regardless of that, it is a game that I think really, really like holds up well. I really like Palace of Ice a lot. Again, some of the same sort of reservations that I had about in the previous iterations a couple years ago remain. Voice acting is meh. The character models, particularly the faces, are very meh. I mean, they're just not. It's not polished. It doesn't look good by their own admission. I've interviewed one of their folks, and Tactical Adventures admits that it was not like they didn't have the money for it, and it shows. So that was kind of meh. And I feel like the story itself was okay. Even this story was okay. Palace of Ice Cream, that would be good, but not amazing. So I would like to see them really invest money into writing. If they need a writer, I know where they can find one. Again, not that the writing was bad. I just didn't think it was like nothing really stands out about it. I would like to see them invest money in that. I'd like to obviously see them invest money in more money into the character model. I think armor model and monster model even was pretty good. I thought that the level design, as I said, was great. Combat is great. I would like to see more put into that. The travel stuff was great. A lot of good things. I just think that there are some things that do hold it back from being amazing, but it was still really, really, really good. And again, Solasta right now is available. You can get it on both Steam and GOG, but since you can get it on GOG, why wouldn't you? And Solasta right now is available. The Lightbringers Edition, which is the main game, main game. It is the sequel, Lost Valley, and it is Palace of Ice. Normally would retail for $60. Right now is on sale for 43% off at $34.19. If you get Crown of the Magister by itself, normally $30, 67% off. It's $9.89 right now. And you can use my affiliate link for that, by the way, with any of these on GOG, which is down below the video window. Lost Valley, which, as I said, I really like the story, $12.99. Currently on sale, 40% off, $7.79. And Palace of Ice, normally $14.99, 30% off, $10.49. I put something like 112 hours into it. I played maybe an hour of like modded content. There's tons of modded adventures as well. Solasta 2 is going to be great when it comes out in a couple of years. I have no doubt they'll be doing one now. But this was a great send-off to the game, and I really enjoyed it a lot. So Solasta Palace of Ice, high approval, and that came in for me at number 3. Which leads us to the top 2 games of my top 30. This was not that close a call, honestly. I like both of these games a lot, but one of these games to me clearly had a greater level of polish than this other one did. And it was something that I thought about, and it was definitely not wizardry under any context, uh, that I thought about a lot. And again, as I say, it's a game that I really, really have enjoyed an enormous amount and am continuing to enjoy. Number 2 on my list is Starfield. I'm fully aware of the drawbacks of this game. Okay. I've played it a lot. I've played like 80 hours at this point. I'm fully aware that the game has issues. I am fully aware that the game, from a point of view of travel, does not have the kind of immersiveness that a game like Skyrim has, for example. I'm fully aware that there were bugs in this system, although not as buggy as most Bethesda games. I'm fully aware that there is some jankiness that's associated with it. No. I'm sorry. I understand. I also understand that a lot of people, and I'm not saying you folks are doing this, it's gotten very trendy to hate on Starfield. I'm not getting on that train. I'm sorry. I really enjoyed Starfield. The quest lines, and especially some of the main quest lines, and I know Drew's with me on this, are awesome. The Crimson Fleet quest line is badass. The first capital F, first quest line for the Freestar Collective is badass. The shoot. Yeah, second time that's happened. I don't know what the hell Twitch's problem is tonight, but I haven't dropped any frames on my end. But so yes. So as I was saying, the Crimson Fleet quest line is awesome. The first quest line is awesome. The ship design work that I was doing with the Mantis is awesome. I absolutely love those quest lines. I think the characters that you get, I like Sam quite a bit. I really have enjoyed, like, Andreja has been a lot of fun. Even Barrett is okay. I've really liked that a lot. Voice acting is on point for all of it. There's a great deal of variety in these things. They're super great. There is great mod support in this, and there's going to be even better. Shattered Space, I think, is going to be really good as well. I understand that some people don't like the game, and that's fine. But if people don't like the game because they just don't like Bethesda, I don't know what to say about that. I understand Bethesda's limitations, but if I think back to the games that have sort of stuck with me the most over the last 15 years, the games that stuck with me the most are games like Skyrim. Despite its problems, despite its issues, Skyrim stuck with me the most. And that's a Bethesda game. And I know other people love Fallout and games like that. So I'm fully aware of their limitations. And yes, I do think the engine is showing its age. And yes, I do think that the traveling between planets could be better. But I also think that there's a lot of good stuff going on with this game. There are a lot of good, excellent moments happening with this game. I think the gunplay also is very, very good. I don't know that it's at the level of Destiny 2, but it's really good. I would put it at the level of Mass Effect 2. It's very, very good. Disagree. Strongly disagree, Dragon. I disagree. There is good mod support, and the big mod teams are not going to stay dropping it. I promise you they're not going to. They'd be stupid to do it. There are tens and tens and tens of thousands of people playing this. Abandoning this game is a mistake from a mod point of view. It's just a mistake. So we can agree to disagree, but I enjoyed this game. I've enjoyed this game immensely. And, the number, and for people who, want to point to well, it's got mixed reviews. Okay. All I can tell you is I really like it. And the creation kit tools haven't even been released yet. Exactly. I really like it. Again, is it perfect? No. But it is a game that in its ambition and in what I've been able to enjoy with it, I think is very, 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 very good. I really enjoy it a lot. But that's the thing. I know you're saying that, Dragon, and I don't know what to say about mod frameworks. I don't mod myself. All I can tell you is that the mods that I've installed work. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know whether that's a mod framework or what, but like, I just see it. So, and I just don't think I just don't feel that people, I don't know. I just feel like, and again, this is not something I'm putting on Dragonspear or Divinorium at all, but I do feel like in the sort of YouTube influencer thing, it's gotten real trendy to hate on the game. I don't think the game is God's gift to gaming. I also think that it's not some, death spiral, bad rats clone. I just think that's ridiculous. And it doesn't jive with my experience. All I can tell you is I've had a blast playing Starfield. And so I don't know what to say about that. Like I've had a blast. So I don't know what to say. It's been great. And I have not had a blast with some of the other games that I mentioned on the list, especially lower down. So I had a blast playing it. And so, for what it's worth, I've really enjoyed Starfield quite a bit. I am looking forward to playing more of it. I am looking forward to finishing it as well, because am I going to be coming back to this time after time after time after time like I did with Skyrim? Probably not, but I'm more, as much as I love science fiction, I am more of a fantasy than a science fiction person. But having said that, I really like Starfield a lot. So number 2 in this list for me was Starfield. Really liked it. Starfield is not a game that you can get for cheap. I think it's still running at like $50-$60 or something. I know you can get it for Game Pass. So yeah, I'm sure that's part of it too, Jasper. And again, not everybody, some people have legitimate like dislikes of it. And that's totally cool. I just don't, some games I think are they are what they are, and I really like it. So what can I say? Okay. Which leads me to my top game of the year, which some of you who saw the shirt that I was wearing may have already gotten a clue as to what that game was. This game was not only polished, not only very impressive in terms of its mix, it's also a game which, in spite of its combat again, becomes the second game in this series. The first one was my top game in 2019 to enter this list. No, Final Fantasy wasn't this year. Final Fantasy VII I'm looking forward next to. And that is Jedi Survivor. Adored this game. I think it is a triumph. Again, it's not perfect, but I think Jedi Survivor is brilliantly well balanced. I think Jedi Survivor is... I played Yuffie, but that was last year also. No, I didn't play Baldur's Gate 3, Div. Baldur's Gate 3, I'm sorry to say, doesn't have any appeal for me. Just very quickly, I don't like... Mind Flayers are maybe my least favorite D&D creature. I don't like gross body horror. I don't love Larian's writing. I didn't like Divinity Original Sin 1 or 2 in their writing. I really wanted to love Baldur's Gate 3, but it's everything that I don't like. Like it's not, I'm not saying it's a bad game, by the way. I'm sure it's very good, but I've watched it played and I'm not sorry. This is not my bag. But anyway, back to, and that doesn't make it bad. It's just me. So back to this, Jedi Survivor. Super, super great. Not only is the game really match its exploration and everything else, but it's also somehow streamlined a lot of the annoying aspects of Jedi Fallen Order and, like Cal himself, become more mature. I don't know that it has some of the extraordinary set piece. No, actually, I'll rephrase that. Some of the surprise appearances that you get in Fallen Order, one of them in particular I'm thinking about, are not matched in this game. But what is matched in this game is some of the extraordinary set pieces. In fact, there are 1 or 2 set pieces that are among the best I've ever played in any video game ever. The music is brilliant. The graphics are great. The gameplay is on point. The questing is amazing. The planetary travel is great. Like, it's just great. Just great. I really, 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 really liked it. Hey, what's up, Crit Twitch? I really liked it. Again, is it an EA game? Yeah. And is it perfect? No. But it's very good. There are a couple of difficulty spikes that come out of nowhere that frustrated me. 2 particular fights that I had to drop the difficulty level on because of how much the spike, and I don't love that. When you have a game going like this, I hate this. Like even Dark Souls doesn't do that. And this game did that on a couple of levels. But that said, in general, this is the game that absolutely stuck with me. And so as much as I did like Starfield and the rest of the games in the list, Jedi Survivor was definitely ahead above it. Like it was definitely a step up from either of those. I did not. Fallen Order I didn't play on max difficulty, Jasper. I played on Jedi Knight. Which is, I think that's right in the middle difficulty, which is what I usually played. Jedi Survivor also, I played on the exact same difficulty level. I watched people try to play this on Jedi, whatever it was, Master, and it just looked like unfun, like a game I would not want to be doing. Laughs in Final Fantasy Tactics. No, see, I love Final Fantasy Tactics though, Div, but I feel like it's different. Sort of said it. Also, hi Echo, good to see you, man. So yes, I really, really love Jedi Survivor. So in the end, that game for me is going to stand out for me. And I'll say this too. Respawn is looking to make a trilogy out of this, right? And also it has one of the more surprising twists in a game as well that I had not expected, I should say. Not as much of an appearance surprise, but a twist surprise. Respawn is on the edge of making one of the better trilogies ever. If they are able to do so, and they are able to make Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, and whatever the third one is, right? If they're able to do all of those things, combined with, I'm pretty sure Respawn also did Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2. That is a hell of a studio, folks. If you do Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2, didn't they do Apex Legends also? Apex Legends, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor? Where's the bad game? I mean, that is a freaking phenomenal studio. And I'll tell you what else. EA deserves credit, and it's a great storytelling as well. Absolutely, Chrono Travis. Also, again, EA, I have lots of problems with Electronic Arts, but they get credit from me again, and here's why. If you don't credit them when they keep their freaking grubby hands off of a game, then you're not going to be able to complain when they're like, I guess we should interfere. They deserve credit for letting Respawn do the job and keeping their hands off it. You don't have microtransactions in Jedi Survivor. You don't have multiple like DLCs to like get all this. You don't have all that stuff. EA deserves credit for leaving it alone. And this game is worth it whether you play it on Steam, whether you play it on PS5. I don't know PS4 because I didn't play that version. It is well worth it. Now, it also had to be, it was not wonderfully optimized for PC, and some people complained about that. I can't speak to that because I was playing the PS5 version. There were a couple of frame rate chugs which should not be existing on a PS5 version. That was an issue here. But having said that, I think this game is absolutely superb, especially when you consider how easy it would have been to just go back to the basics, right? It's like when I talked about how great Square did in remaking Final Fantasy VII Remake, when they could have just slapped some new graphics on the old Final Fantasy VII and called it a day. Instead, they did a meditation on remakes. This game, they could very easily have gone back to Fallen Order and played the greatest hits. They very easily could have been like, let's bring back all of these characters. Let's bring back all of these heroes. Let's bring in Jabba the Hutt. Let's bring in all of these characters you know, and let's have all this stuff. And they didn't do it. I guess they couldn't have brought back Jabba the Hutt, actually. No, yes, they could have. They could have brought all of them back, and they didn't do that. Instead, they made a new story with a new character that made you care about them. They made you care about BD. BD-8 is a great droid. It made you care about him. They made you care about his former master. They made you care about some of the new characters that you find. They made you care about they made you care about the game, and they added in little mini games and like things where you can like, you know, grow parts of the garden, but you don't like in your like home base, but you don't need to do that if you don't want to. Just absolutely spectacular. Really, 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 really great. And I really give them credit for doing all of that stuff. Yeah, they've done those. But think about it though. 3 Titanfall games, 3? Is it 3? I know they did 2, but anyway, 3 Titanfall games, both Jedi games, Apex Legends and Medal of Honor. Now, I don't know which Medal of Honor they did, but every other one of those games is great. Titanfall 1 was really good. I can confirm that Titanfall 2 is amazing. Everyone says that Apex Legends is awesome if you like that kind of a game, and I can absolutely confirm that both Jedi games are great. Both my games of the year, 4 years apart. 2019 for Jedi Fallen Order, and 2023 for Jedi Survivor. So Titanfall 3 was Apex that was reworked in it. Oh, okay. Great though. Really, really good. So in general, Medal of Honor. Yeah, I don't remember that one. I don't think I played Above and Beyond. I don't believe. At least I don't think I did. So yeah, I loved it. So that was my number one game of the year was Jedi Survivor, and I think pretty close. So again, now for those of you who haven't seen it and don't want to get spoiled, please put this on pause for just a moment, or mute the stream or do something because I'm about to describe this again. I won't go through all of them. Again, there were 7 brand new games that came out this year on this list. 6 games I played off stream this year, and of those 30, in order. Everyone ready? Everyone ready? Everyone set? Okay, for those of you who don't want to miss it. So, and I'll wave when I'm ready, okay? Just let somebody in chat let them know when I'm done talking this. So again, in order. Number 30, Die by the Sword. Definitely. 29, Detective Gallo. 28, Project Zomboid. 27, Pendragon. 26, Late Shift. 25, Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. 24, Letter Quest Remastered. That was off stream. 23, A Castle Full of Cats. 22, A Building Full of Cats. 21, Star Control 2. 20, The Pale Beyond. That was new. 19, The Outer Worlds. 18, Ys Origins, which was off stream. 17, NBA 2K23. That was off stream. Also on PS5, by the way. 16, The House of Da Vinci 2. It was off stream. 15, The House of Da Vinci 1. Off stream. 14, Legends of Amberland, The Forgotten Crown, off stream. 13 was Dungeon Siege. That was great. 12 was The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. That was new. 11, I Love You, Colonel Sanders. Just missing the top 10. 10, that was probably the hardest choice, was between Mario Kart and I Love You, Colonel Sanders. 10 was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I did play on stream. 9, The Bookwalker, Thief of Tales, which was new. 8, Tintin Reporter Cigars the Pharaoh, which was new. 7, Dredge, which was new. 6, Styx, Master of Shadows, was number 6. 5, Chained Echoes, that was number 5. 4, Inkle's Sorcery 4, The Crown of Kings. 3, Celasta Palace of Ice, that was brand new. 2, Starfield, that was brand new. And number 1 for the year of 2023, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, brand new this year. Your top 30 games. Congratulations to the much coveted Jedi Survivor. Congratulations. And yeah. And I hope you folks enjoyed that. Although I may stream a little bit longer. I'm not feeling I want to at least do that. Yes, it's now safe. It's okay. It's safe. It's safe to return. You can actually return now. It's actually okay. Welcome back. It's safe. It's all right. It's okay. So yes, but it was great. I really did enjoy that. So, poor Echo. Sorry, Echo. But listen, I did love Dungeon Siege. Despite the fact I only played that on Tuesday, it still was high up there. So anyway, it was great. Yes, I do recommend also a lot of these games. I honestly did not play. None of the games that I played were crappy. Like really, none of them literally were crappy. I didn't crack any jokes about Cyberpunk. None of the games that I played were crappy. I really didn't think so. There was only one that was even sort of heading towards it. It really wasn't. So none of them were crappy. So that was good. A lot of good games this year. So I have a question, which is not mine. What is everyone else's top game of the year that you played? What was the top game that you folks played? Whether it came out new this year or whether it was the first time you played it this year, what was everyone's top game? What did you folks like? Sea of Stars. Yeah, I've heard. Yes, I watched you play a bit of that, Drew. I heard many good things. You don't have any game of the year, Echo? Okay. Talos Principle 2. Yep. Definitely looked pretty awesome, Shadowed. Everspace 2. Really, Karth? Interesting. Everspace 2. That's interesting. Alan Wake 2 with Baldur's Gate 3 and Tears of the Kingdom as runners-up. All very good. Tara, I think you just named like pretty much everyone's like top 3. I heard so many people talking about Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, and Tears of the Kingdom for sure. Cyberpunk 2077, Dragon Spear, yep, and Jasper. Yeah, I've heard many good things about Phantom Liberty as well. League of Legends, very funny Divinorium. What's up, Marinda? Paladin's Oath. No, I have not heard of that actually, Marinda. And good to see you, by the way. Happy holidays. Happy New Year to everybody, by the way. Yeah, no, that's really awesome. You've been enjoying the Star Trek's Adventure RPG and the Starcade RPG. But wait, though, are we talking like TTRPG? I'm just thinking video game, though, Triffid. I'm not talking about TTRPG. I might put that in a separate category, actually. You're talking about TTRPG or you're talking video game? Because I would put those in a separate category. Oh, TTRPGs. Yeah, I was thinking about video game side of things. I'll talk about TTRPGs in a second. I'm not ranking them all, but... Stargate Timekeepers. Oh, really? I have not heard of that one, Echo, actually. So that's good ones. Yeah, those are good lists. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, on the tabletop front, I will tell you that the best game. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'm excited to see how you like it with Breath of the Wild. Is that just wish listed though, or is it coming out? Let me double check this. Oh, wow, it's coming soon. I didn't know about this game, actually, Echo. This is the first I've heard of this. Wow, that's cool. Thank you for letting me know. I actually did not know about that. Yeah, no, you're right. It would. That's true. But no, I actually have not played it. So there were a lot of tabletop games that I played. Before I show you this, I have to show you something first. Very important, chat. And you can see right behind on the floor, you can just see the back leg of Ganesh, my other cat. I know, that is Sherbert. He's in Garfield mode. And right behind him is Ganesh. They're really great cats. Like, they really, really are super great cats. And they just like to hang out with everyone. Like, that's the cool thing. Like, I swear to God, this is true. When we first got the cat, I was like, all right, one of the things I'm really, really hoping for is that I'm going to get a cat that will be willing to like stay up with me, like in the office when I'm doing work or streaming or whatever. And because I just think that's so cozy. And like, that's exactly what happened. Like, they're so, like, it's so cool. They're just super cozy. They just like to come up and hang out. Like, this is what they do. It's really, really awesome. I really like it. So hang on a second. Oh, that's right. Okay, wait, I have to fix something. Nope, not that. There we go. That's to get rid of that. That is to get rid of the little wavering you may have seen before. There's a technical reason for that. I just have to put a note. Fixed. Frames back to 1 out of 16. So now that I did this, you will notice that that problem is gone. And the only issue then is that I have to turn this down. Whoops, too far. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, so anyway, they're really awesome. Like, one of the nice things about 2023 has been the addition of the cats. They're just super fun, very friendly, very affectionate. Yeah, it's been really great to have them. So that's been super cool. And yes, it is funny. The cat has moved quite a bit in the last 3 days, but it does look like he's just hanging out there all the time, right? Oh, we have movement. Yep, arching of the back. Yeah, there we go. So he's great. And Ganesh, who is the one that's behind him that you can't see, Ganesh is also super awesome. Ganesh is also a great cat. And they're best buddies. Like they love each other. They're constantly like, play wrestling with each other, and they chase each other around, and they like bat balls at each other, and like they groom each other. They fall asleep. Like they are big fans of each other as well. So that was actually super cool. Um, you got a puppy, comes to you every hour or so and judges you. Aw, they will give it time though, Div. Dogs are different. They give it time. And I'm still more of a dog person than I am a cat person, but these are as close as you're going to get to like dog like cats. They really are pretty cool. They're going to be big too. Right now Ganesh is like 9.3 or something, or 9.4 pounds. And Sherbert is about 9.1 pounds. Is like 9.1 pounds or something. Thank you for the cheer, Echo. And they are right now, let's see, Ganesh was born. Ganesh is going to be 7 months old at the, actually, he's just about 7 months old now. Ganesh is 7 months old. Sherbert is 7.5 months old. And they're that big. So they're going to be even bigger. Oh, yes, Corgo. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, very important. So they're going to be big cats. Siberians get to be pretty big. They're not going to be enormous. Like, they're not going to be like 25 pounds. But they probably, there's a good chance they could both get to like 14, 15 pounds. Some of Siberians can get up to like 18 to 20 pounds. But the guess right here is that they're going to slow down to like somewhere between 13 and 16 pounds is where they'll end up. So, and they're also spectacular athletes. Like their jumping ability is crazy. Like they're not quite that type. When they stretch out though, they're crazy. The other thing is too, like they have these incredible tails. So like, and their fur is absurd. Like they just have this like coat for days. Like their coat is just like ridiculous. Like just absolutely absurd. How heavy is this in non-freedom units? Very funny. Yeah. So anyway, they're very, very cool. They are super floofy. Yeah, they really are. And and it's really nice because they also don't pick favorites. They really like all of us. My mother-in-law lives with us. They really like her. They really like my son. They think he's fun. They sometimes don't know what to make of him, but they think he's fun. They really like my daughter. They love being able to, go in. Sometimes they just sort of hang out outside her room or go into her room or like lie next to her when she's sitting in the kitchen or whatever, doing some homework. They do that. And they really like my wife. And oftentimes when my wife is sitting in one spot in the house where she like can be dealing with clients and stuff and she's looking out the window, a lot of times they'll like curl up right next to her, not on her lap, but like right next to her under feet or whatever. It's super cool. Like they really like all of us, and love all of us. And that's super neat. They really are family cats. And they go everywhere around the house except places we keep them out, which is my basement because I don't want them down there. And also, we don't let them into like one or two of the closets we don't let them into because we don't want them to get stuck. And we also don't let them into my bedroom. And that was mostly an allergy thing. That may change because thank goodness my saintly wife who took allergy shots for 2 years managed to get it. She's not allergic. It really did cure her allergies to cats. Now, part of it is also they are Siberians, so they're very clean and they produce less of the allergen that some of the other cats produce. But there is no such thing as a completely hypoallergenic cat. The other thing is we have a litter robot, which is like one of those automatic litter things, which is super useful for cutting down on litter effects. And obviously my wife doesn't do that because that could still create allergy issues. So I basically am the one responsible for cleaning out the litter box and cleaning it. But honestly, the litter robot makes that 10 times easier than it would be otherwise. So it's really great. Well, one miracle at a time, Echo. Remember, I lived without any pets in my house for like 7+ years. So first we had to make sure that my wife could survive this. Next step up is a dog, but it's going to take a couple years. It's not going to be immediate. So one step at a time. Cats are just too chill. Yeah, but you know what though, Pencil Mage? I got to say, When these guys are in play mode, they are not chill. When they're in play mode, they are in super excite mode. They are super entertaining. They are incredible athletes. They did this thing, I swear to God, I think I told this story the other day. They did this thing once where I saw them in the kitchen. They like to like play wrestle and like chase each other and jump up and like, stuff like that, right? They went literally so first of all, they're in play mode, right? So Sherbert down on his haunches. He's up. He starts doing this. And you could tell the tail is like, right? Same thing with Ganesh. Ganesh is down. Right? They then run towards each other. Now they like to like pounce on each other, like stalk each other and everything, right? They're like this. They jump up. They did this kung fu leap. First of all, both of them leapt in the air to the height of my waist. Now I'm 6'3", okay? They leapt to the height of my waist. I was standing watching them from a distance so I could see how high they got. And they they kung fu'd each other. I swear to God, they're just like, and they like hit each other. They didn't like hurt each other. They hit each other, spin, land, like come to a slide. And then they're like, it was wild. Like they're fast, super good jumpers. Like, yeah. So they definitely can be a lot of fun. They are a lot of fun. And it's a good idea to play with them. Everybody was kung fu fighting. I would put these cats up, athlete-wise, against any cat I've ever seen. I mean, and these cats are not even full grown yet. They are going to be finally full grown. I think somewhere around 13 to 14 months is where they're fully grown. And they mature all the way up until they're about 4.5 to 5 years old because they live pretty long, 15, 16, 17 years. But they are legit athletes. Like they really are impressive. And so, yeah. They also, one of them is, so they also have different personalities somewhat. Ganesh is the explorer. Ganesh loves to explore. He loves to look around different things. He has been on top of that shelf a few times, despite my dissuading him from doing so. So they love to do that. Also, Ganesh loves to be in baskets, and bags. That's like Ganesh's favorite thing to do. Sherbert does that a little bit. In fact, I will show you one thing that Sherbert did recently. I give to you this. That was Sherbert recently. But Ganesh does that kind of thing all the time. Ganesh loves getting in boxes and barrels and bags. If you put a bag up, like Ganesh pretty much is going to leap in the bag because he just loves bags, like pretty much. So there's that. So that's him. But what was I going to say? I'm trying to find where. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, hang on a second. I gotta edit something. Okay, here we go. I give to you Ganesh in a bag. It's a cat in a bag. Oh, it's a cat on a bag. Yeah. Oh man. And the thing is too, like you can like literally carry him around in the bag and he loves that. Like he's a big fan. Also, two cats grooming each other. So they're pretty awesome. So that's Ganesh. Sherbert, on the other hand, loves hanging things. Okay, sounds good. Sleep well and feel better, Triffid. And if I don't see you, Happy New Year again. Happy holidays. So Sherbert loves hanging things. He loves grabbing and hanging stuff. In fact, when I'm wearing my Yukon Huskies hoodie, I got to be careful because sometimes I'm like, "Oh, you want to say hi to me?" And then he's like, "Bat," because he's like batting at the hanging thing. It also is an issue for little Arv, who has longer hair, so she has to sometimes be super careful about like not. So yeah, that can sometimes happen, but in general, she just sounds like a cat. No, totally. Yeah, she but he like he is very much all about the hanging stuff. He also is, from a purring point of view, he is very much more of a, like, when he starts purring, he's a machine. Like he's just like purr, like it just like low motorcycle rumble the whole time. Not erratic. In fact, whenever you do stop doing what he liked when you were purring, it doesn't stop right away. Like he's still like purr, and then eventually he's like purr, and then it dies off. But like he's just like purring machine. In fact, I fell asleep one day over in the little book nook area over in one side of my office. Excuse me. And I was in the chair and I just fell asleep because I've been reading something or whatever. And when I wake up, he started up there, right? When I wake up, I woke up because I heard because I heard him hitting the ground, and then he's like this, like staring right at me. He's like purr, and at first I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then I hear him purring. He's like purr purr, and then he gets up on the chair next to me, and like then gets up on a little windowsill behind me, settles down, and just purrs. It was awesome. It was super cool. And he was just kind of like, "It is time for me to spend time with you, hanging out, purring at you." Like it was very cool. Whereas Ganesh will certainly purr as well. And Ganesh also is very affectionate, but Ganesh will do a lot more of the kind of erratic purr, where Ganesh will be kind of like, like, so he's kind of like the like that kind of a chugging engine, whereas like Sherber's is like yeah. You will be loved, do not resist. But it's very cool. One of the things that I did not want was a cat that was just going to ignore me all the time. Like, it was like, I don't need to spend money on food and, everything on a cat that doesn't give a damn about my existence. These cats do not ignore us. They have hung around. Also, we did get them from breeders because it's very hard to get. You can't really get Siberians from a shelter. And because, again, of my wife's allergies, it was the only way it was going to work. So we had to actually meet the cats, make sure the allergies would be okay. And the breeders did a wonderful job raising them. They're certified. We knew that ahead of time. It's more expensive, but it also means that they were much less sort of like dealing with less health problems. My recommendation always is, first, go to a shelter. All of my other animals have been from shelters. If you can do so and still have an animal. In our case, we couldn't because of the allergy situation with my wife. And so we ended up going to a breeder, because that's the second option. Ganesh has made an appearance. The second option here is to do what was done. The second option is to go with a breeder. And that's the second thing you do. What you don't ever do is go to a pet store to get a dog or a cat. Do not do that, because pet stores get dogs and cats from puppy mills or kitty mills. They are disgusting places that should be illegal, and they have been made illegal in certain places. So you definitely don't do that. But you should absolutely get it in that order: shelter, then a breeder. And if you have a family member or something, that's different. But like shelter, breeder, and that's it. So yes, all hail the void. So here's the second kitty. That is finally making our appearance. Ganesh. Hello, Ganesh. That is Ganesh, who's being silent cat. Picking up a pet and running very fast. Yeah, picking up a pet and running very fast is how you get hurt. Yes, that's true. Also, both of these cats are because from kittens they've had this. They are used to being picked up. So we do that fairly often. We obviously don't just like grab them, like we don't come running at them shockingly or anything, but we pick them up quite often. We pick them up and basically and they like to be cuddled. They also like to have, now this is unusual. Cats do not usually like having their bellies rubbed, but there is an exception. When cats feel particularly safe and comfortable, they will roll over and show their belly. And so they sometimes like, especially Sherbert, getting their bellies rubbed. Sherbert likes his belly being rubbed, but does not like people dealing with his paws. So sometimes clipping the nails is an issue. Ganesh doesn't have any problem with the paws. He's not so crazy about the belly. He still likes it. Okay, that shouldn't say that. He sometimes does like it, but it's more off and on. Whereas Sherbert usually likes that. Also, the other thing that we reasoned for the breeder was part of the reason we're doing it this way is that my son is still afraid of animals in some ways. He had some bad experiences with, especially with a dog, not ours, but some other dog. And so cats were a way to kind of get him used to things slowly because cats are also a little bit more, calm and chill than a dog can sometimes be. And so that's the other thing. They don't like bite or scratch. Like they might scratch accidentally if they're like going to like grab like bat at a toy or something, but they do not like reach out and scratch someone's leg or anything like that. So he's super, super, he really enjoys them because, and he's good. I mean, he's a good boy. Like he's not like, pushing them, but whatever. He's 7.5 and he's not going to be perfect all the time. And so they came from a breeder that had little kids that were like running around constantly. Like actually our house is way calmer than the house that they came from. So yeah, see, that's it, Jasper. And growing up with animals really helps if you can do it. It's good for allergies. It's good for a lot of other things. Um, so yeah, super cool. So let's see, is Ganesh going to stay? So sometimes he likes to stay on this. Sometimes he likes to play. Sometimes he likes to go to the other thing. So I don't know what he's going to do here. He may try to, I think he's trying to get Sherbert interested in playing with him. And I don't 100% know if he's doing it because right now Sherbert is like, yo, I'm sleeping. You could tell though, Ganesh is like, yeah. Sherbert's like, hey, you, hey, why don't you play with me? Oh, look at this. What do we have here? Why are you sitting on top of my paper shredder? He's trying to figure out how to get Sherbert to play with him. He's like, all right. He's thinking about it. He's like, what am I going to do? Do I want to play? He's like, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to try to get Sherbert to play with me. Hey. He's like, yo, let's play. Remember how fun it is to play? Hey. I'm telling you to go play with me. To just catting. I know, right, Dragon? Sorry, y'all got me into this. He's like, I'm going to get this. I can get. How you doing, bud? He's going through. Let's see. He's now underneath the table. Underneath the desk, I should say. Not sure what he's doing yet. He's on the top stair. He's on the top stair leading downstairs out of my office. And I don't know if he's... I don't know that he knows if he's going to stay up there. Right now, he's still... See, he doesn't want to leave. He wants Sherbert to play with him. That's the problem. And he's like, Sherbert. Totally agree, Resin. Totally agree. And rescues, I totally agree. In fact, we got our dog Lilo, we got from North Shore Animal League, which is the largest no-kill shelter in the world. It's on Long Island in New York. Okay, Ganesh has decided to depart. So you're just going to have to do with the one cat for right now. So yeah, so he's pretty chill. Sherbert is. He can be. But yes, rescues are awesome. And as I say, I would always recommend rescues first. As I said, in our case, we couldn't do that because of my wife's allergy situation, and also because we had to be sure that the cats would be good with kids. Because if they're not going to be good with my 7-year-old, can't have them in the house. We could not have a situation where a pet made my child more afraid of pets. We needed to go the opposite way. I want him to be less afraid of pets. And that's exactly what's this been. Yeah, just get a new wife. Oh man, Dragon. Wait till she hears what. Yeah. But yeah. So, but they've really been a wonderful addition to the family. They really have. Okay, so I'll tell you what, folks. Now that I've done my top 30, yeah, it's not easy. You got that right. Okay, so now that we've done our top 30, I want to stream a little longer. So I am going to do something. I'm going to call an audible. I'm going to, as they say, and I'm going to stream for about an hour, but it's not Starfield. I'm going to do something different. Since I told you that I was playing this game that I was having fun with, I am going to... I'm going to play a game that is one that I started playing last night. Actually, not last night, a few days ago, I should say, through Steam. And I'm going to have to change up the category and everything. It's not Dredge, no. I thought about that. I thought about Dredge, but no. No, I'm going to play something that I played last night. So it's a retro game. Let me make sure that I got this all. Okay, good. That's all clear. Right. So a whole new, nope, not New World. Not a bad guess though, Resin. Not New World. This is okay, so it's retro. Well, it's not a retro game, but it has got the feel in many ways of a retro game. And also, I just realized I should stop recording my top stream. So for those of you who have been watching the recording, the VOD of this, thank you so much for watching. And if I don't see you, have a happy new year. Please join us, subscribe, and do all the things. Thank you for being part of my Game of the Year 2023 show.